All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to today's live commentary NASCAR Cup Series race coverage at Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway for this weekend's running of the Enjoy Illinois 300, 240-lap, 300-mile race, second race of the round of 16 of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, as we have just 9 races to go on the season. Getting into this one here today, we will go over the NASCAR trivia, then the Fantasy League spotlight, leading into the point standings outlook with 2 races to go in the round of 16 of the playoffs, and of course, the starting lineup leading into the start of the race. So thank you all, obviously, for tuning in once again, our third and final live commentary stream of the weekend. And then we go on to Bristol next week for the elimination race weekend for the round of 16 for the Cup playoffs, the opener for the Xfinity Series playoffs, and I believe the second race of the round of 10 for the Craftsman Truck Series postseason. So appreciate everybody tuning in, and let's get into this one without further ado. We'll start off with the NASCAR trivia, as we usually do right here on the channel. And we're going to do 2 shorter quizzes this week to kind of change things up a bit. NASCAR Cup Series has only been a Gateway for 3 races now, so we're going to try to name everybody who's ever won a race at Gateway for either the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup. Cup will obviously be super easy. We only have 4 minutes, though. This is not a lot of time. We've got to be very quick, so if you're playing along in the chat, be sure to put your answers down below, and we'll do another shorter quiz just after this one as well. So starting things off, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and last year, Austin Cindric. Keselowski. Edwards is on here a few times. Biffle is probably on here, Truck and Busch. Okay, what about Kenseth? No. Earnhardt Jr. Okay. About Truex? He's on here. Hamlin on here at all? No. Harvick? He's on here. Let's go Boyer. Boyer's not on here. Burton, not on here. Scott Riggs. Oh, wow. I can't believe I got that. Brian Vickers, probably not on here. Okay. 2005. Mark Martin. Let's go on to the Truck Series. Recent years, Enfinger. Sheldon Creed win here at all? Yep, twice. Austin Hill, maybe? No. Who won last year? Corey Heim, probably. Yep. Okay, so Heim in 22, 24, 2019. Crafton ever win here at all? No. What about Ben Rhodes? He has not. Late 2010s Truck Series, my gosh. I already tried Austin Hill already. The William Byron won a ton of races, but not here. Harrison Burt. No, I already tried that. This is tough. Go Bodine. Go with the earlier Truck Series. Hornaday. Skinner. Benson win here at all? Yep. What about Oh, I already got him. Flopple. No. Setzer. No. Crawford. No. Sprague. Yes. No, Bowman's not going to be on here. Go Randy LaJoy for that 97 race. No, Busch Series. They only got 90 seconds. 2010's Truck Series. What about Buescher? Moffitt? Dang it. Bobby Hamilton ever win here at all in the trucks? No. Striking out. Mike Bliss. Oh, man. 30 maybe? No. I don't know why I'm striking out with the Truck Series in the 2010s right now. Yeah, well, we're about to find out. So disappointing, Reddick. Golly. Briscoe. Jeez. You tell I didn't watch the Truck Series in the 2010s much. Dylan's not on here either. Bubba Wallace? I don't remember that at all. Yeah, I mean, the 2010s, the Truck Series, man, John Hunter Nemechek 2017, that's so long ago. It's hard to believe he's been around in the top 3 series of NASCAR for that long already. 2017, he won a truck race at Gateway. Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain, Justin Haley, a lot of active drivers, which I figured it was going to be. I just wasn't thinking more on the Cup Series. I mean, because that was pretty much all me on that quiz. 64%, 67. That's only the third time all year we've got below average score. Got 100% twice this season. We'll see if we can do that on another quiz. So we're going to do another Gateway quiz. Maybe. No, those are the only two we have. Right. Well, see if there's another short NASCAR quiz then. I was hoping they were going to have 2 Gateway quizzes, and they did not. Do Hall of Famers. I don't think I've done a NASCAR Hall of Fame quiz yet. Motorsports, NASCAR Hall of Famers. This is going to be tough for me. We're going to need a lot of help in the chat. 10 minutes. And it only goes up to 2021, so it's going to be kind of tough to figure out the year that some of these guys were inducted. So 2010, the initial year, to 2021. So we don't have the last few years of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So we're going to try to do this. 10 minutes, 58 names. Not all drivers, of course. Some owners, some crew chiefs. Broadcaster. I didn't know there were any broadcasters in there. It's got to be Ken Squire, I would assume. But all right, let's do this. We're going to go with the big ones. Earnhardt, Jr., Sr., Petty, Lee, Maurice, Richard, Pearson, Yarborough, Waltrip, Allison, Davey, Bobby, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin. See, off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of guys that are just too recent. When did Harry Gant get in? That was too recent. Same for Ricky Rudd. So they're not going to be on here yet. Hornaday on here? I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, Ron Hornaday's on here. Jeff Bodine. Jeff Bodine's not in. Fireball Roberts. Joe Weatherly. Red Byron. Okay. Oh, Bill Rexford. Probably not. Then Jarrett. Dale Jarrett. Randy LaJoy's not in there. Yeah. Sam Ard? No. Tony Stewart? Yep. Owner. Rick Hendricks got to be in here. Okay. Gibbs. Childress, right? Richard Childress. Penske in the Hall of Fame, yes. It's a lot of owners in the Hall of Fame. What about Robert Yates? Yes. Wood? Leonard Glenn? Get my head in the game. Leroy Arbor? No way. No. That was not there. Bill Elliott. No, Joe Nemechek's not in the Hall of Fame. Uh, Edwards was too recent, so he's not going to be on here. Matt Kenseth. That was too recent. Dang it. Because it only goes to 2021. Yeah, Jack Roush is in here. Good call. Junior Johnson's got to be in here, right? Yep. Broadcaster. I didn't put Ken Squire yet. Dale Inman? Okay. It's crew chief. Larry McReynolds is not. No, that's. There's no way. Jack Knaus. That was too recent. Oh, Ray Evernham. Evernham. Okay. 32 of 58. I don't know, chat. NASCAR Hall of Fame, you got to think like greatest of all time. There's a lot of guys that are putting a lot of names in there that they haven't even won any cup races. NASCAR Hall of Famers, again, is what we're going for right now. Alan Kulwicki. I don't have anybody from the 26. Dave Marcus isn't in here. Marvin Panch has got to be in here. Oh, what? He's not in here? Sterling Marlin is too recent. I don't even think he's in the Hall of Fame. Ernie Irvan? No. No, Letart's not a Hall of Famer. Yeah, 4 minutes. Rusty Wallace. Can't believe I didn't come around to that yet. There's how many owners do we have left? Driver, owner. Driver, owner. Oh, the France family. Jeez. Junior Bill France Jr. and Senior. Smith? Bruton Smith. I think we got like all the promoters. Got a couple of driver owners on here I haven't put yet. NASCAR Hall of Famers, chat. I don't know why I put that. All right. I don't think Ganassi is in here at all. I don't think so. I don't think Chip Ganassi's in here. There's got to be some other NASCAR owners. Who am I maybe missing? No, that wouldn't be it. I'm stumped. This is I don't think this is a good showing on the quizzes today. Burton? See, like Harvick is not going to be in here yet. He hasn't been retired long enough. I'm stumped. I'm so stumped. Oh, shoot, we're out of time. I didn't realize the clock was down into the final seconds. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh, this has got to be my worst collective showing on the quizzes. I barely got the average score at 64%. This is not a good quiz week. The two short ones that we did. So we've got all of 2010. Bud Moore, that was missing as an owner for 2011. Richie Evans, I don't think I would have ever ended up getting. Richie Evans, Buck Baker, Cotton Owens, Herb Thomas, all in 2013. The driver owner, like I wouldn't have thought like Cotton Owens, because I only think of him as a driver. Tim Flock, Jack Ingram, 2014, 2015, Fred Lorenzen, Wendell Scott, Rex White. So many classics. Jerry Cook, I don't think I would have ever gotten. Curtis Turner, of course. Terry Labonte, that's so bad that I missed that. Bobby Isaac, and obviously Bobby Labonte is going to be on here as well. That would have been 2020, along with Buddy Baker. Waddle Wilson, I don't know if I would have ever came around to him. Mike Stefanik, I forgot he was in the Hall of Fame Modified Series. Great. Red Farmer. Benny Parsons, of course. Raymond Parks, I would have probably never gotten. There's a few of them. I would probably say there's like 3 or 4 names I would have never gotten, but the rest of them, I mean, that was a pretty bad showing for the quizzes. I mean, a lot of those guys are names that we would have on other quizzes too, and I just don't know why I wasn't circling around to it. I think I was just thinking too hard. Head wasn't in the game this weekend for the NASCAR Sporkle Trivia. But the best thing is that we still have 8 weeks to go in the NASCAR season, so we have 8 more weeks to try to get back on the right track with things. So on to the NASCAR Fantasy League side. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website and or the NASCAR mobile app. Chance to win 2 tickets to any race of your NASCAR choosing, excluding the Daytona 500 next season if you win a regular season and or playoff championship. And as we go into the fantasy league for this week, it locks up in 3 minutes. And the only edit that I have to make to my team from last week to this week, I'm taking Reddick out, plugging in Christopher Bell, and I'm still going to be starting Byron, Hamlin, Larson, Briscoe, and Blaney. I do think one of those 6 guys are going to win this race. I'd be shocked if anybody but the 6 that I have on my fantasy team this week are going to win. So again, I've got William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, and Ryan Blaney. So Logano, Hamlin. On the head-to-head matchups, I'm going to take Hamlin, who is on the pole. Bell, Cindric, give me Bell. Briscoe, Bowman, Briscoe. That one I feel like is the biggest no-brainer. And then Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott. I'll go Elliott. He had good long-run pace. Bubba's struggled at Gateway throughout his Cup career, so not too bad of a fantasy team outlook for this weekend. Get the chat back up on my phone. Shout out to those of you watching the stream that haven't shouted out anybody yet. Regine Huddleston, Bam Hall, Solomon Lee, Frank Powers, Patrick Shadley, Wade, Shahir Gaming and Entertainment, Jordan Kirby. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Mark, welcome to the stream as well. Mark DeMars, of course I remember you, Mark. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, scheduled distance for today's race, 45 laps for Stage 1. Stage 2 will be 95 laps, 100 laps in Stage 3, making up our total distance of 240 laps, 300 miles, one of the shorter NASCAR Cup Series races of the season. And now to follow, we'll go through the starting lineup of today's Enjoy Illinois 300. Starting on the pole for the second consecutive week will be Denny Hamlin. First front row start at Gateway for Kyle Larson. He will roll off P2 outside of row 1. Row number 2, Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain. Briscoe winner a week ago in the Southern 500, locked into the round of 12 of the playoffs already. And in row 3 will be Ryan Blaney, who ran out of gas on the last lap of this race a season ago. William Byron to his outside, looking for his second Gateway top 10. Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell will be in row 4. Bell leading 80 laps, most of any driver last season, had some engine issues down the stretch. Row 5 will be the defending winner last year, Austin Cindric and Zane Smith with a great starting spot. Chris Buescher, Josh Berry in row 6. Joey Logano, the 2022 winner on the inside of row 7, alongside Bubba Wallace looking for his first top 20 at Gateway. Austin Dillon with Eric Jones in row number 8. Row 9, AJ Allmendinger and Shane Van Gisbergen. Row 10 will be Chase Elliott with John Hunter Nemechek. Ty Gibbs with Kyle Busch. Busch, the 2023 winner at Gateway in row number 11. Row 12 will be Brad Keselowski, Noah Gragson, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez. Row 13. Row 14, Carson Hocevar and Michael McDowell. Behind them in row 15, Cole Custer, Todd Gillen, Justin Haley, Ryan Preece outside the top 30 in row 16. Row 17, Riley Herbst, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And rounding out our 36-car field, row 18, Ty Dillon and Cody Ware. So that will be the starting lineup, again, for the Enjoy Illinois 300 here today at Gateway. Here's the command with the great Bill Murray. First. You can fire it up when you're ready.
You gotta love it. Bill Murray stills the show. Hey,
He was hyping the crowd out for a good 10 seconds or so before I unmuted it too, and he still hurt quite a bit. It looked like he was about gassed. He gassed himself, trying to hype up the crowd. Gotta love it though. Comedy legend, comedic acting legend Bill Murray at the track this weekend. Southern Illinois, St. Louis area. Christopher McComas, welcome into the stream also. All right. So the only other thing we have to cover here is the point standings, which will be scrolling at the top of the screen. I'm not going to be making any edits at the top of the screen throughout the course of today's race. So that will be from the start, and obviously stage points will be awarded at the end of stage 1 and stage 2 for the top 10 positions, and 1 point per position in the finishing order for the rest of the points. If a playoff driver not named Chase Briscoe wins this weekend, they will lock themselves in to the round of 12. Briscoe already locked in because he won the Southern 500, the first race of the round, last weekend at Darlington. So Briscoe's in the next round. After him, highest in points is Denny Hamlin, plus 43. And I believe he actually gained 20 points on the cut line a week ago with that solid run at Darlington. Kyle Larson plus 38 points, a lot of stage points last week, and obviously a lot of playoff points entering the postseason as the number 1 seed. Tyler Reddick plus 35. Bubba Wallace plus 25. Same for the regular season champion William Byron, also plus 25. Ryan Blaney plus 22 and plus 21 for Ross Chastain. Tighter around the bubble will be 9th through the rest of the field, plus 12 for Austin Cindric, defending winner of this race. Christopher Bell plus 11, who again led the most laps in this race a year ago. Chase Elliott plus 9. He has not finished in the top 10 at Gateway. And plus 3 for SVG, who's making his Gateway debut. Minus 3 points for Joey Logano, first driver below the cut line, a former winner here. Austin Dillon minus 8 points. And then minus 19 for Alex Bowman and Josh Berry. So that is the point standings outlook. Again, that is scrolling at the top of the screen and will be throughout the course of today's live commentary coverage. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We do these live commentary streams every weekend for races I don't attend in person, for NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, truck races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying right here on the channel. Final stream of the weekend, the main event, the NASCAR Cup Series race on this Sunday afternoon. We could see an upset winner. That's possible. I don't think we will today. I think we're going to see a playoff driver win this race. A lot of the favorites are in the playoffs. Top 9 starting spots, all playoff drivers, and track position is obviously huge here at Gateway. My pick to win the race this weekend is going to be Ryan Blaney. I think he gets redemption from a year ago, running out of gas on the final lap. He had the fastest long run speed in the mid-range, at least that 15 to 20 lap average in practice. It was actually some of the Hendrick Chevys that were a bit quicker on the 25 and 30 lap averages, both Chase Elliott and William Byron. Byron starts up in 6th. Obviously, he's been super consistent all year. Chase Elliott, though, has not scored a top 10 at Gateway before, and he starts 19th, so I don't feel as confident about him. So Byron's definitely going to be one of my favorites to win the race as well. And then Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, just starting on the front row is going to be so huge. Hamlin's finished runner-up in the last 2 Gateway races. Oddly enough, he has not led a single lap at Gateway in all 3 races, despite the good finishes he's had here. And Kyle Larson, by far the best Hendrick Motorsports driver at this track, usually starts behind the 8 ball, and then they get going by the end of the race. He gets up top 5, top 10. Well, this week he starts in the top 5. Huge credit to that. Probably the Goodyear tire test back in the spring. He was the only Chevrolet to run that. Improved in practice. He was the fastest of the playoff drivers overall. Struggled on the long run a bit, but the short run's obviously there because he qualified 2nd, and the overall lap time speed was good again before qualifying in practice as well. Lee Diffie, Jeff Burton, and Steve Letarte in the USA Network booth again, and you'll get to listen to them prior to the drop of the green flag for today's race.
Driver Jeff has already qualified to go through to the round of 12. That's Chase Briscoe. After next weekend in Bristol, 4 drivers will be eliminated. So with that being said, who is facing the biggest pressure in your opinion right now?
Well, to me, already early in the playoffs, pressure is on 2 champions, Joey Logano and Chase Elliott, and both of them are starting outside the top 10. This first stage is short, Steve. You got to go. You got to get points. I don't know if they can pass cars and get where they need to get those points.
You mentioned Joey Logano. His teammate, Austin Cindric, sits 9th in the points, 12 points above. And while I think that's an okay margin, nobody wants to depend on Bristol. He won here a year ago. I think today is very important. And not because of the points, but because of kind of momentum. I look at the 11th team of Denny Hamlin. Pole sitter a week ago, one of his best racetracks, a bad pit stop. They grind back to 7th. Pole sitter again. It has been weeks since this car ran inside the top 5. If they want to be considered a championship favorite, they have to revisit that form. I think that momentum could start here today.
So how about Shane Van Gisbergen? It didn't go to plan last weekend. Where does SVG sit?
Well, he has those 4 wins at the road courses. I think he had a missed opportunity at Darlington with all the playoff issues. But, Jeff, he's never been here, and after 25 laps of practice, he looked like he had the speed of the 88 was there. I'll have to say, I think he has a real chance to score some points today.
I do too. Last week, they just didn't execute. They needed to just finish that race with no problems. They weren't able to do it. today I think they can race themselves to decent points.
All right, let's take a look at today's starting grid brought to you by Golden Corral. And it was a terrific effort yesterday from Denny Hamlin to put his JGR Toyota on the pole position. Starts alongside Kyle Larson.
Yeah, playoff drivers continue to roll through. So many qualify well. Jeff, you have Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain in row 2. Ryan Blaney, William Byron in row 3. More playoff drivers make up row 4 with Tyler Reddick starting next to Christopher Bell.
Yeah, the guy not in the playoffs in row 5. Dane Smith did a really good job. Chris Buescher. All those guys are trying to have good end of the season. Josh Berry, after that first lap wreck last week, needs a good finish.
You just mentioned him, the defending champ, Joey Logano. He needs those points. Well, starting outside the top 10 in row 7 next to Bubba Wallace. These early laps will be crucial to have a good run. Austin Dillon, that Richmond winner, starts there in row 8.
As we continue to roll through the starting grid, how about this one, Jeff? We always talk about the playing field, okay? This race has always been in June. This is still young as far as Cup Series history. It's only the 4th year that the NASCAR Cup Series has raced here, but it's now a playoff race. How different does that make things?
Well, I think the pressure is up already, as we talked about. And this is a very difficult racetrack. The track is tight. Pit road is tight. We see a lot of accidents here.
And that is a Worldwide Technology Raceway signature. And it usually takes people by surprise. Stevie, that's the first time you've seen it.
It's the first time I've seen it, first time I've felt it. We're all the way over here on the front stretch, and you can feel it shake the booth.
That's no joke. Like the booth literally shook when those things erupted.
Hey, every racetrack has their signature move or signature corner or special iconic thing to do. That's what happens here in St. Louis. We have got enough time to check in on pit road before we go racing. We kick things off with Dylan Welsh. Good afternoon, Dylan.
Hey, Deb. Well, Hendrick Motorsports has historically struggled here in St. Louis, but there's some reasons for optimism they could turn that around today. A Kyle Larson tire test here in June and some serious conversations this week post-Darlington have William Byron and the 2014 in camp optimism this week with a better direction for what they need to go fast here. On their long run in practice yesterday, William did some trial and error, some self-medicating, found what worked for their race car. They have it in a window today, Kim, where they think they can contend up front all day.
Well, Dylan, yesterday was a big win for the number 1 of Ross Chastain. One of their goals has been to get better on Saturdays, to unload better, have better migration direction, show speed in qualifying. They did all of those things qualifying in the 4th position, and that starting track position is key for another one of their goals. They want to earn max points here today. With that first stage being only a short, quick 45 laps, they've all but guaranteed themselves solid stage points if they can maintain that starting position, Marty.
Kim Denny Hamlin has started the playoffs off with back-to-back pole positions at Darlington, now here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And at plus 43, talking to Chris Gale, his crew chief this morning, he said, listen, we're in a very good position. Yes, we would love to be able to go win this race. But if we get a base hit today and go to Darlington or go to Bristol plus 50 above the cut line, that's what we need because we want to go next week and race for the win. And Hamlin got a little pep talk from his good buddy, Bill Murray. Yes, the one who gave one of the best commands ever just a moment ago. Bill Murray leaned in and said, hey, sorry I wasn't able to play in your golf tournament earlier this year. Normally, Bill Murray is at Denny Hamlin's golf tournament, but didn't make it a couple of weeks ago. So a little pep talk from Bill Murray, starting on the pole position. Lee, I think Denny Hamlin feels pretty good about things in St. Louis today.
Doesn't get any better, does it? And Denny has started these playoffs in the best possible way. Pole last weekend in Darlington, pole here yesterday. It's a very exciting qualifying session. It didn't go right for the 11 team last week in the pits, but they staged a tremendous comeback, and Steve, that helped them in the scope of things, in considering where the other playoff drivers finished. So if everything can go to plan for the 11, it could be a good day for Hamlin.
You see the drivers trying pit road speed. They use that access road both in and off. We'll take a look at the race analysis. 240 laps, 300 miles. That stage 1 is really a sprint. 45 laps, 95 laps stage 2, 100 laps stage 3. The fuel window around 75 laps. Pit road speed 40 miles per hour. We will say this multiple times. And second narrowest pit road only to Indianapolis, only 25 feet wide. You see right there just how little room there are for these cars between the pit boxes and that outer wall.
Bunker, who's really feeling the pressure, one team that's really feeling the pressure from Hendrick Motorsports is the 48 of Alex Bowman. Dylan, tell us more.
Yeah, and even though they do look like they're in dire straits at minus 19, it doesn't necessarily feel that way. Spoke with Blake Harris, the crew chief, earlier today, and their goal is just to get out of here in less of a hole than they're in currently. They really feel confident about what they've got at Bristol next week. If they can just minimize some damage and some losses here and go to Bristol next week, they fully expect to be able to finish in the top 5 in the stages and be up front at the end. Force others into a mistake there or capitalize on others' misfortune if they can, Kim.
Last year it was Austin Cindric at victory lane here, and while the team would love to repeat, Austin told me he felt like they were, quote, underwhelming in practice. They thought they would be much better. Now, they still think they'll be a top 10 car, which is necessary if they want to hit their goal of being at least 20 or more points to the cut line headed into Bristol next weekend. Austin said anything under plus 20 to the cut line is pretty nerve-wracking. Even with 20, he said nothing is guaranteed. They come into this race morning plus 12.
Kim, if there's one driver ready to get this race green today, it is Ryan Blaney, so he can erase the St. Louis memories from 2024. Blaney had the lead coming off turn 4 to the white flag and ran out of fuel. They are hoping not to repeat that today, but they were exceptional in practice yesterday on the longer run. Do not be surprised if Ryan Blaney's in contention to possibly win at St. Louis after last year coming so close.
Well, Marty, to your point, let's stay with the 12 team of Ryan Blaney. Team Penske, let's eavesdrop on a pre-race pep talk.
Hey, everybody, good job. Over here.
Nice and positive. That's the way to do it. So this place is very young in as far as its history in NASCAR Cup Series racing, but not so as far as the Xfinity Series, trucks. There's been some Trans Am and road course racing here on the infield. A lot of history with drag racing here. And now we're in the 4th year of the NASCAR Cup Series, but the first time ever for the playoffs. It's the Enjoy Illinois 240 laps around.
Alrighty, let's get this thing started. Again, one of the shorter NASCAR Cup Series races of the season. It's going to be an interesting one here this afternoon in St. Louis. Denny Hamlin, who is on the pole for the 2nd consecutive week, going to try to take charge early. He elects the outside lane of row number 1. Kyle Larson will now be underneath him on the inside. And who will get this first initial launch and get themselves into the lead in the opening lap of the race? Hamlin fires middle of the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're underway in the Enjoy Illinois 300. Packed crowd on hands on the front stretch here at Gateway, as we've seen several times already in the short term for the NASCAR Cup Series when they have come to St. Louis. 4th race here. Hamlin is clear out of turn 2 with the race lead. Larson was quickly urgent to make sure he got up to the outside lane in front of Ross Chastain to hold on for 2nd place. Briscoe taking a peek to the inside of Chastain on entry into turn 3. They'll be side by side for 3rd. Also side by side behind them in a battle for 5th place is Ryan Blaney and William Byron. End of the opening lap where pole sitter Hamlin leads lap 1. And he's got about a 2.5 car length lead over Kyle Larson. Larson's got about that much, if not maybe another car length or so, ahead of the side-by-side battle that's still going on for 3rd. Briscoe and Chastain have been door-to-door now for an entire lap and a half. Turn 3, Briscoe still on the inside and Chastain up high. Chastain going to hold that 19 car very tightly to that curbing on the inside of the track, but it wasn't able to hold the 19 up enough. Briscoe is clear for 3rd. Blaney simultaneously clearing Byron for 5th behind him. Tyler Reddick still working on Christopher Bell. Bell rolling that outer lane pretty good through turns 1 and 2. Extends his gap over the 45. And we're going to see the groove really widen out by the end of this race today. It widened out a ton in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race last night. It's going to start off as a mostly groove to groove and a half racetrack, but as the race progresses, they're going to be up near the wall in 3 and 4, probably lane and a half or so off of that in 1 and 2. Top 5 at the end of the first 4 laps then has Denny Hamlin in the lead, Kyle Larson 2nd, Chase Briscoe 3rd, Ryan Blaney 4th, and Ross Chastain in 5th. Crossover move for, believe that is Bubba Wallace in the 23 as he tries to get by Josh Berry in the 21. Couple of playoff drivers starting a little bit in the middle of the pack, just outside the top 10. That pass was made for 12th for the 23. Slides up off the exit of turn 4, though. Got back in the gas too soon, and Barry's going to try to cross him over on the inside to turn 1. 3 wide, right in the middle of the pack. Ty Gibbs, Austin Dillon, and Shane Van Gisbergen. Dillon boxed in the middle, had to lift to fall in line behind the 88, 54 underneath him. Larson trying to creep in on Denny Hamlin up at the front of the field. Top 2 cars kind of pulling away from everybody else for the time being. Ryan Blaney got by Ross Chastain for 4th place a couple of laps ago as well. Chastain remains in 5th. Bell had also gotten by William Byron for 6th. Almost about the same time that Blaney got by Chastain. Larson is closing fast on Denny Hamlin down the backstretch. Had a gigantic run out of turn 2. Hugging the curbing with the left side tires all the way through 3 and 4. You can see Hamlin's car wiggling around just a little bit in the center of the corner. And Larson's putting some pressure on the 11. Wider entry into turns 1 and 2 for Larson. Already going up to that middle to upper groove. Hamlin stays around the bottom. Larson should get a good run off turn 2. Close to the wall on exit of the corner, getting everything he can. Taking a peek to the inside into 3 and 4. He'll duck back in line behind Hamlin and enter through that wider line now through turns 3 and 4, just like he did in 1 and 2. Larson will sneak to the right rear corner panel of Hamlin. Corner exit. Larson going for the lead. Larson leads that lap at the line. Hamlin still underneath the 5. Probably not going to battle too hard for this. Hamlin's car's just not rotating quite as well as that 5 right now. Larson's really kind of diamonding that middle to upper groove of the racetrack. Larson clear out of turn 2, and we have a new leader for the first time today. Our first lead change a handful of laps into the race. 8 to be exact. Kyle Larson leads from the 2nd starting spot now to 1st. Coming off a 19th place finish a week ago for Kyle Larson at Darlington in the Southern 500. Ran top 10 in the first 2 stages. It's pretty much 4th to 6th all day up until stage 3. Got up against the wall. Lost the handling of the race car just a bit. Eventually, ended up fading back to 19th in the late going. Larson about a half a second already ahead of Hamlin. The lap times that Briscoe's running very similar to that of Larson. Hamlin is not as quick as some of the drivers up in the top 4. Last lap, Hamlin was about 2/10 off of the 1st, 3rd, and 4th place cars of Larson, Briscoe, and Blaney. But he was quicker than 5th and 6th of Chastain and Bell. Though I would assume Bell's quicker than Chastain. He's just having troubles trying to get around him right now. They're within a couple tenths of one another. Bell at the mercy of the dirty air. Hamlin's lost the clean air, and now he's maybe going to start to fade just a little bit more. Chase Briscoe looking to the outside through 1 and 2. Hamlin moved up a little bit compared to where he was running when he was in the lead in front of Larson. So Briscoe doesn't get quite as good of a run on the 11. At some point, Hamlin's going to have to start being a little bit more defensive with his line. Now he'll go to the outer group through 3 and 4. Briscoe changes it up to the bottom. You don't want to lose too many spots if you're Hamlin to keep yourself in contention for a win. Even though we're only on lap 12, it's just so hard to pass at this racetrack and with the next-gen car on top of it. You start bleeding too many positions early, you're maybe never going to get it back. Even if that means only falling back to about 5th and 6th by the end of the stage. Gregory Bradley, thanks for tuning in. Frederico Sanchez and Robert Goodrich, welcome to the stream. And long. Sorry, we had a little bit of a lag there, a couple seconds. Should be good to go now. The problem is, though, for Briscoe, the longer Hamlin plays the defensive line game and stays in front of him, the more it's going to end up backing these guys up. Larson put a 33.337 down that last lap, and he was a few tenths quicker than second, third, and fourth. Now that the 19 and the 12 are getting closer to the 11, starting to match lap times with Denny as not as much quicker than what they were before they had actually ran him down to a closer gap. Surprising that Joey Logano has struggled in practice and qualifying here this week. He had finished top 5 in the first 3 races at Gateway. He's currently 14th. Started the race outside the top 10 as well. And 13th, so he's actually lost 1 spot from the start. Lead for Larson over Hamlin, 1.9 seconds. 2.5 seconds to Chase Briscoe in third. Ryan Blaney, 2.8 seconds off the lead. Ross Chastain back 4.8 in fifth. Christopher Bell, 5.1 seconds back in sixth. William Byron, 5.4 back in seventh. Tyler Reddick in eighth is 6.6 seconds off the lead. 6.9 back for Austin Cindric in ninth. And Zane Smith, 8.1 seconds behind the leader. He rounds out the top 10. I believe everybody that started in the top 10 is still in the top 10 spots. A couple of changes in position. A couple spots here and there lost or gained. Ryan Blaney is actually closing in on Briscoe rather than Briscoe putting pressure on Hamlin anymore. Blaney taking a look to the inside. Blaney was able to really wrap the bottom of the racetrack better than most of the other drivers in yesterday's practice session. Might be the case in the early going of the race as well. Briscoe in the dirty air right behind Hamlin. They're both running that upper groove of the racetrack, so it leaves Blaney wide open on the bottom. And we know how good that 12 car's been on the longer runs as well. Haven't seen much fall off here this weekend for the most part. Larson's fall off from his fastest lap to the most recent lap, only about 0.4 of a second. Larson's got almost a 3-second lead already. Actually, just beyond that, 3.2. It's the best a Hendrick Motorsports car has looked ever at Gateway, especially from the start of the race. Irina Sayre, Imogen Blevins, welcome to the stream.
"27 laps to go in stage 1 here in the Enjoy Illinois 300. Technically, we're across the bridge, across the Mississippi in Illinois. We always refer to this Worldwide Technology Raceway as in St. Louis. And you're looking at the 12 of Ryan Blaney, who was so close to victory here a year ago. And he's working on last weekend's winner, Chase Briscoe, for third.
It's been a good battle. Like, Briscoe got to Hamlin and looked faster. And then once he got there, he kind of stalled out. And Hamlin's driven away from him. But ahead of all that, we talked about in racing today how cars are so similar in speed. Kyle Larson is flying. He is 0.3 of a lap faster than anyone else.
And almost 4 seconds ahead of Denny Hamlin. That's what that looks like. As we get some updates from pit road, Dylan, take us away.
And William Byron runs into second spot. We told you at the start of the show about that long run they did yesterday in practice. The struggle on that long run was the short run, so they did make some changes overnight to try to help that. Still a little bit more to be desired. William just came on the radio and said he was struggling to lead on the rear tires, but expected it to come to him. Rudy Kendall, the crew chief this morning, at lap 15 to 40 range on that long run they did was when the car started to come alive. We're right in the middle of that sweet spot right now. He's working to do, Marty.
Dylan, you saw Bubba Wallace had that spirited battle with Josh Berry at the start of the race. He's gained a couple of positions since the start. What's he saying about the car? Listen in.
Man, you got to give me some front grip. This thing gets no better than yesterday. You're fine. Doing good with what you got so far there. You stay with it. All minutes here out there.
And Kim, that comment is interesting from Bubba Wallace saying it's no better than yesterday because after practice, he told Charles tonight, I just don't know what direction to go with the car. They did make changes based on qualifying. We'll see how it plays out.
Marty, a free fall for Austin Dillon, who started 15th, now finds himself in the 27th position. Here's what he just told the team about the car.
But tell me how to drive. I'm driving a piece of doing all I can with it. Oh man, I got you out of line here, but.
And that was his response to the spotter telling him to drive harder into 3. This could be a hangover from their practice yesterday. Crew Chief Richard Boswell told me they underachieved in practice, overachieved in quals. Yesterday, he just didn't have the confidence to do everything.
And immediately behind him is the 48 of Alex Bowman. Alex lost 3 positions since the start and finds himself in 28th. And a lot of work to do this afternoon here at Worldwide Technology Raceway to keep his hopes alive. Meanwhile, back up with Chastain and Byron. This fight for 6th. And the top 9 positions are occupied by playoff drivers.
Yeah, great battles. See the line moving around. Chastain up the racetrack. Byron shifted down in there, got a little bit loose. I really liked the speed yesterday, Steve, of this 24 car practice.
Yeah, we're nowhere near what would be considered a long run. 20 laps in as we're right on board with this Busch Light onboard camera for Chastain. 75 on fuel, 45 at this stage. We saw cars run over 40 laps even in practice. So as we've seen the lap time slow a little bit, you just wonder 15, 20 laps out there, there's a real big grip loss, and we'll see a variety of balances for these cars. I love what Chastain's doing, though. He's allowing the 24 to run the bottom of the racetrack. Says, man, if you're good enough to drive to my inside and be able to power down, you can have the spot.
Yeah, pretty much the entire field has moved up the racetrack. Middle lane to 3rd.
I love looking at the telemetry.
Oh, Eilish around after making up all those positions in this opening stage.
Here's no 1, 2. We're not yellow yet. They don't see it apparently. Caution though.
Now the caution flies. What a shame. That was such a productive run for Kyle. This is the place, by the way, the site of his last ever Cup Series victory 2 years ago, which seems like an eternity. Let's see what happened to the driver of the 8.
Just trying to leave the corner with lots of speed, and just around it comes. We've seen this multiple times. The car just doesn't talk to him. He doesn't know that it's loose. And
That's right.
before he can do anything about it, he's aimed in the wrong direction. It's just not telling him I'm loose. He's in the gas.
I think this just shows how difficult these can be to drive. Some guys, Kyle at times, make it look so easy. But when you're on that winless streak, he's trying everything he can to hustle this 8 car to make sure he's holding up his end of the bargain. And here he spins the car out by himself. Quite shocking.
We heard his teammate Austin Dillon, talking about how bad his car is, and we heard both of them in practice as we got the report earlier. Yesterday was a major struggle.
Let's have a listen into the 8. This might tell us a little more.
Flag right rear security there on the side, obviously. I don't know what line you run. Apparently that one's not a good one.
So that's even more confusing, right? Because they're trying to say, hey, what do we need? And Kyle didn't give an obvious yes. He's like, well, it depends on what line I run. If I run low or middle or high, it changes. So it's just, you don't have the overall correct foundation. You're really just kind of crutching the balance, as awful as that sounds. But, Randall Burnett's going to continue to fire at this thing, do everything he can. This is just a tester for an organization to just try to improve. It's obvious they're missing it a little bit with both cars. Now, this yellow is in a very awkward spot because 18 laps to go in the stage, you absolutely don't need tires from what I see. The question is, do you want to come and take gas now? Does that help you later in the race? Is there a strategic opportunity here to pit now and maybe stay out at the end of the stage? Be interested to see what everybody does. This is when it's just complicated on pit road because I don't think everyone will make the same decision.
While we're getting ready, Jeff, for pit stops, you see the crews getting ready and warming up. I want to give a shout out to Corley Racing's AJ Ummeninger. That team, that 16 team, were the fastest on mid-road last weekend as we look in the rearview mirror to more than 2 years ago here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And as I mentioned earlier, the site, the moment of Kyle Busch's last Cup Series victory. When will be the next one? That is the question that has been asked a lot and from his fan base as well. So there's been moments over the past 2 years where he's come so close, agonizingly close to not only winning, but also making the playoffs.
Pit road, a split decision.
Ooh,
Pits
Larson
pits.
pits.
You see it. It is an absolute split. Now, if you're in the back of the field, probably decide to come unless you think you can get enough track position to get some stage points. And with this many cars on this narrow pit road, mind your P's and Q's. Try to work together. Easy to damage a race car, Dylan.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on here from a strategy and tire standpoint for William Byron. His feedback just was that he was looser on that run in and off the corner than they were in practice. A little bit tight in the center. Here's the 24 in for service, Cam.
So we talked about Tyler Reddick. He was a little confused on what he needed out of the race car. He said it might be a little too tight right now, but I kind of want to see how it goes. So don't look for major changes on that 45, Marty.
Kyle Larson with effusive praise for his race car, saying, man, we are really good. My only complaint, a little bit free on the entry of turning pit road and a tight pit road exit with SVG as well.
Take evasive action there. And his 4.4 second lead evaporated with this first caution of the race.
We saw this last week. It looks to me like the 45 has a loose wheel. He stops in another Toyota teammate, the 11, to get it tightened up. Marty, is that the situation?
How about that heads up? Yes, Tyler Reddick had a little bit of time to come down pit road, pulled in the 11th pit stall. Great communication by the Toyota camp. Back with the finish at stage one.
Going to have less than 15 laps to go in the first stage. We get back to racing. We'll have to wait for updated leaderboard outlook as we had a split set of strategy with drivers staying out versus drivers pitting. Our race leader, Kyle Larson, was one of which that just came to pit road. A few of the others in the top 5, I think the rest of the top 5 actually stayed out. A couple other cars of the playoff drivers in the top 10 also staying out, trying to go for as many of these stage points as they can. They qualified well. They didn't want to risk losing anything. There were 3 teams that took right side tires only, and I'll go through that in a little bit. So Denny Hamlin will be the leader. Chase Briscoe second. Ryan Blaney third. Christopher Bell fourth. So that was second through fifth when the caution came out. The Ross Chastain in fifth now. Austin Cindric stayed out of the pits. And then those were the last 2 of the playoff drivers that stayed out. 7th and 8th, Michael McDowell, Justin Haley, Chris Buescher 9th, Zane Smith 10th. And then Chris Buescher would have been the winner off of pit road. Right side's only for him. Right side's only for Zane Smith. Kyle Larson is the first off of pit road that took 4 tires. He is going to be in 11th. SVG taking 2 tires as well. He is now 12th. And then everybody else took 4 tires from 13th on back in the running order. Depending on how this restart goes, if the likes of Larson and others on fresh tires struggle to make their way into the top 5 before the end of the stage, I think there's an opportunity that lands for the guys like Hamlin, Briscoe, Blaney, Bell, that they actually stay out at the end of stage 1 and still try to make stage 2 on one stop. The fuel window being 73 to 77 laps. Having caution laps now, you're guaranteed more caution laps after lap 45 where the stage 1 break will happen. Stage 2 is 95 laps. You can get to within 25 to 30 laps pit, and then you're good on fuel to the end of the stage from there. Rather than guaranteeing you're going to pit at the stage end and then maybe giving up more track position because there weren't really a whole lot of cars that stayed out, only the top 8. So Tyler Reddick and that 45 team pitting out of the box is going to lose quite a few positions. He was in the back half of the top 10 when the caution came out for Kyle Busch spinning off of turn 2. No damage for Busch's race car. He does continue on in the race, but I'm sure a lot of Kyle Busch fans in the chat are watching at home and saying, again, I feel for you all. Stu, welcome to the stream. In the race today. It was hard not to take somebody starting on the front row. I just didn't trust Larson. But you can definitely tell that Goodyear tire test was great for him. Having extra laps at this track where there haven't been a lot of laps for the Cup Series in the past. Making the most of it so far today. He's like quite a few laps from the second starting spot. Denny Hamlin led the first few. Now he's back out in front again. And we'll see how he'll do on the restart as the green flag is back in the air. Larson taking to the outside, 3 wide, 4 wide for a brief moment through 1 and 2 as he tries to motor his way around guys on old tires in front of him. There's really only about 4 to 5/10 of a second fall off a lap, but with 14 to go and not as many that stayed out, I think that's going to be enough with the pace Larson has to get back to the lead, unless we catch a quick caution, which is not impossible. Briscoe got out ahead of Denny Hamlin off of turn 2 on the initial restart, so Briscoe leads for the first time today. At the start-finish line, he has not led at Gateway since 2022 when he started on the pole in that race. Started third today. Larson has already raced his way up to 4th as he clears Christopher Bell up out of turn 2. He's the only driver of those on 4 fresh Goodyears, though, that is actually making passes as well as he is through the top 10. Bubba Wallace with a great restart, getting by those with 2 tires in front of him, and I think he's the second highest in the running order of those that took 4 tires during the last set of pit stops. He's up to 9th. Larson under Blaney for 3rd across the start-finish line. 11 laps to go in stage 1. Larson clears Blaney on entry into turn 3. Hamlin running tightly behind Chase Briscoe still, but Larson the guy to beat here through stage 1. Larson less than 7/10 of a second, off of the lead. Briscoe with the higher line through 1 and 2. Denny Hamlin down low around the bottom. Up off the exit of turn 4. A 3-wide battle. Just inside the top 10. Very tight. Bubba Wallace bump drafting William Byron on the bottom. He's got Michael McDowell, Austin Cindric to the outside. SVG also in the mix just behind them. And Josh Berry for the second week in a row in stage 1 is around. And he's got quite a bit of damage to the left side of his race car. That spin took place in turn 2.
Yeah, he had also pitted trying to work himself up to the field.
Oh.
That is done.
Destroyed.
That's the fear, right? It's easy to say, come and get tires because you see them driving to the front. But it does put you back at the pack a little bit. And obviously for the 21, what an awful start to the playoffs.
Roger, the stage rolling.
Let's show you a view from Chase Elliott.
A contact there.
Get
for
into
sure.
They might have been 3 wide. I think Logano was on the outside.
Watch, Josh Berry is underneath Logano, trying to get underneath Logano. And then contact with Chase Elliott.
What an escape for Eric Jones. Was able just to skip through. Watch the car closest to us here.
Wow.
That's a big hit.
Yeah, it was.
Big disappointment for this team, but they have a lot to build on and a lot of speed in the races this year.
Unfortunately, Josh suffered a big crash here last year as well. So his playoffs are not going to plan.
This might be 2 last place finishes for Josh Berry. I don't think he's going to get that car repaired to get back out on the racetrack. He's immediately pulling to the garage area. Kyle Busch will get the free pass after falling off the lead lap from his initial spin. I'm not sure if he fell 2 laps down or if he was only 1 lap down, but either way, he'll get the free pass. And if he was 2 down, we'll get a restart in before the end of stage 1. He can get back another lap if he was down 2 at the stage end at lap 45. So Busch still very much in the race. Chase Briscoe leads, Denny Hamlin in second. The caution is going to buy them a little bit of time because Larson was on the move. Now Larson's only going to have a couple laps to get by the front row cars in front of him of Hamlin and Briscoe. Knowing he went to the outside 3 wide on a bunch of guys just inside the top 10 in front of him on the last restart, I can easily see him going to the outer line trying to go 3 wide on the 19 and the 11 with his fresher Goodyears as well. Take the outside of row 2 for a restart. Might even be able to get a better launch in the restart zone than Briscoe, who I'd imagine would be in front of him. Push the 19 clear, get by the 11 off turn 2, and then just try to strike on the 19 at some point within those last couple laps afterwards. 2 cautions in this very short opening stage of 45 laps here today at Gateway. Both incidences in turn 2. Kyle Busch spin off the exit of the corner, self-inflicted, and contact resulting in this most recent spin. Josh Berry, driver's side door first against the wall, middle of turns 1 and 2 after contact from Chase Elliott. Three lead changes, 3 different leaders. And all 3 of those guys that have led today are all in the top 3. Briscoe, Hamlin, Larson. Larson has led the most. Hamlin on the pole has led 2 times now, and Briscoe took the lead off the restart. 22 laps led for Larson, 10 for Hamlin, and 6 and counting for Briscoe, who leads currently. 4th on back through the running order have not led yet today. We'll go through the full field running order here quickly while we're under caution. Chase Briscoe leads. Denny Hamlin in 2nd. Kyle Larson 3rd. Ryan Blaney 4th. And Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Ross Chastain in 6th. William Byron 7th. 8th is Bubba Wallace. Austin Cindric 9th. And Michael McDowell in 10th. Shane Van Gisbergen in 11th. Chris Buescher in 12th. Zane Smith 13th. 14th for Joey Logano. Chase Elliott 15th. Eric Jones 16th. Ty Gibbs 17th. John Hunter Nemechek 18th. Carson Osavar 19th. Todd Gilliland 20th. Daniel Suarez 21st. Justin Haley 22nd. Alex Bowman 23rd. AJ Allmendinger 24th. Noah Gragson 25th. 26th, Austin Dillon. Tyler Reddick 27th. Ty Dillon 28th. Cole Custer 29th. And Ryan Preece 30th. 31st for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Cody Ware 32nd. Riley Herbst 33rd. Kyle Busch 34th. 35th for Brad Keselowski, and Josh Berry out of the race 36th.
You know, it doesn't take much on corner entry, Steve, to get a car rolling around. It's just really tight racing here.
Yeah, it looks to me like the 9, I don't know if he gets a little loose. There's definitely a correction. Up the track he goes, catches the 21 around, the 21 goes. Nothing on purpose. Doesn't help Josh Berry feel any better about it because the damage is definitely done to his car. But this isn't the only time we're going to see this today. If they continue to run 2, 3, and 4 wide on restarts, people are going to make contact. There's just not that much space.
Josh Berry, the driver who locked himself in with victory in Las Vegas earlier in the year. This is what happened last week in Darlington. It was an extraordinary save by the 45 of Tyler Reddick. They got in, but unfortunately, things weren't too extraordinary for Josh Berry. So it has been really tough back-to-back weeks for the driver of the 21.
Yeah, when you come into the playoffs, you're just not expecting to be in 2 wrecks before the end of stage 1, right, in the first 2 races. And you get all fired up, and you can see right there how close the racing action is. But Josh Berry just comes out the loser.
Eric Jones says, thank you. I was able to skip through there and get away with that, following on from Legacy Motor Club's brilliant weekend last weekend with both drivers in the top 5. So we're almost finished stage 1, and it's Chase Briscoe at the front. And you'll notice, I meant to say this earlier too, when you see the pylon, not that one there, because that obviously says that he's already got the 1 win, but when you see the names surrounded either in blue to designate that they're playoff drivers, Briscoe's the only one surrounded by yellow, confirming that he is going through to the round of 12.
This caution did get Kyle Busch back in the lead lap from that earlier incident.
Now we'll have to see if the heat cycle has changed the tire advantage for Kyle Larson. You know, as his tires lost a little, have the older tires cooled off more, Marty?
Steve, 11th to 3rd in just a handful of laps for Kyle Larson, kind of using that high line and those fresher Goodyears to get to the front. But it's interesting, Steve. Cliff Daniels has already told Kyle Larson, hey, at the end of the stage, we're staying out. So for those who did pit at lap 29, can they two-stop the rest of this race and spend the minimum amount of time on pit road versus those who have 3 stops left in this race?
Well, there's only 4 laps of Kyle Larson's tires, and they're going to restart here with 4 to go. So 8 laps, hard, 8 green flag laps on his tires to the end of the stage. Really no reason to come down and pit. Now, what happens the rest of the race will really probably determine the number of yellows we see.
Yeah, 4 laps to go in stage 1 when we get to this restart. Larson going to try to make quick work of the JGR Toyotas on the front row in front of him. Might be boxed in on the front stretch for a little bit, especially if Briscoe does not fire off well in the restart zone, who is lined up in front of Larson on that outside groove. Briscoe going to get the launch and the push. Green flag back in the air. Didn't even need a push. It was just a great launch by the 19. 5 challenging for second place on Denny Hamlin. The 19 moves up the racetrack trying to hold the 5 behind him up off the exit of turn 2. Side by side for second still. Briscoe clear by a car length and a half on entry into 3. Bell had a great exit to turn 2 as he now looks to the inside of Ryan Blaney. And this would be a pass made for 4th if Bell can get it done. Larson clear for 2nd on the high side. 4 wide up out of turn 2. Logano lifts to stay out of harm's way. Cindric might have had to lift as well, as it is an absolute scrum in the middle of the pack. Few positions outside of the top 10s where all that battling is currently taking place. A couple guys on older tires. Justin Haley, Michael McDowell stayed out of the pits entirely, losing a ton of their track position, gain virtue of the pit strategy. SVG looking for some stage points, up to 10th place right now. Running in line behind Zane Smith, just 2 laps to go in the stage. Larson still has not gotten by Briscoe. He's all over his back bumper getting into turns 1 and 2. Maybe Briscoe's got a shot to try to hold on for the stage win here. Caution bailed him out just a little bit, saved him a few extra laps. He would have had to run hard under green. Got the coast under caution. Heat cycle already in the fresh tires for Larson, but he is on fresher tires nonetheless. Lot of open room to run on the bottom for Larson. He's going to have an advantage here, nearly making contact with one another down the front stretch, and they do make contact towards the end of the front stretch. Not giving each other much room to race. Into turns 1 and 2, the 19 tried to pinch the 5 up as much as he could, and Briscoe's still holding strong on the outside. Clear up out of turn 2 as well. Briscoe will try to block on Larson after Larson got tight off of turn 2. I think he's going to be too far back. I don't think Larson's going to get back to Briscoe. Larson tries the inside. Briscoe gives it to him. Briscoe up high will carry the run off 4, and Chase Briscoe holds on old tires to win stage 1. Larson in 2nd, Denny Hamlin 3rd, William Byron up to 4th, and Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Bubba Wallace 6th, Christopher Bell 7th, Ross Chastain 8th, 9th for Zane Smith, and on the last lap, Chase Elliott passing Shane Van Gisbergen for the final stage spot position in 10th. 45 laps in the books here today at Gateway. Chase Briscoe, stage 1 winner. He's the only driver obviously locked into the next round of the playoffs. He just picked up another playoff point, so that was huge for him. That's all he's racing for these next 2 weeks at Gateway and Bristol. So great job done there for the 19 team. I thought for sure not Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. I thought for sure Larson was going to get by him. Especially being side by side off 4, coming to the white, fresher tires. Larson just got to the gas too early out of 2 and couldn't hold it. Briscoe did a good job not making a mistake on his own right and was able to hold on. Needed to be perfect, and Briscoe was just about perfect. Nathan Urich, welcome to the stream. Starting to think Kyle Busch should push his retirement up. Eesh. I think he's only, 41? I mean, like, Denny Hamlin's a few years older than him. He doesn't have, I guess they've got about the same amount of years of experience, Cup Series-wise. Busch was a rookie in 05, Hamlin in 06, so. Obviously, Hamlin in the better equipment nowadays, still at JGR, where Kyle Busch used to be there, and not the case anymore. RCR the last few seasons. Hamlin's career in recent years has felt a lot like Kevin Harvick in the later years when he was in his early 40s and still winning about 3, 4, 5 races a season. Super consistent. Leads a lot of laps. Early to mid 40s. Then he figured out how to race the car, but Kyle obviously hasn't. Well, the weird thing is Busch did win 3 races a few seasons ago. So there was something there. But he did go winless in 2022. Outside of the Bristol Dirt Race, I guess he won the Bristol Dirt Race that year. So he's got 4 wins with the next-gen car just in the first 2 seasons. And in the last 2. And this is very much a what have you done for me lately kind of sport. And Busch hasn't done much lately. Briscoe, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, Chastain, SVG onto pit road. Same for Cindric. Pretty much everybody who took 2 tires or took no tires and didn't pit at all during the Kyle Busch incident are on pit road at the moment.
We have these playoffs, Dylan.
Christopher Bell, top left of the screen, will hit his marks. Reported earlier in the run, he was a half number 3 in the center of turns 1 and 2, but tight in the center of 3 and 4. They're going to opt to free him up here. They're going to be buried in traffic. They need some maneuverability, Ken.
Top right, Chase Briscoe. Just the rear needs to be in the racetrack more, but he didn't want to get it too tight. Just can't lean on that right front air pressure adjustment, Marty.
Ryan Blaney said an entry is not too bad. I just need more rear security late in the run. Denny Hamlin, when the 5 car went by, he said, I don't have that much speed. And he said, quote, I'm maxed out. I need to be a little bit freer, especially late in the run. And you see all the cars leaving pit road, but a few stayed out, Lee.
So therefore, the 5 of Kyle Larson will cycle to the front. Chase Briscoe winning that race off pit road.
Man, how much was staying out of the pits worth those guys that did? I think they just needed more cars to stay out, and not enough did, because now 24 cars are staying out. And I don't know that any of them have the speed to before we get to the pit stop cycling in the middle of stage 2. You know, over the course of the entire race, we might see 1 or 2 of those guys jump up in the top 5 by the end of the race, but it might take them the rest of the race to get there. Got about 190 laps to go. Stage 2, 95 laps in length, 100 for stage 3. So they will have to pit for fuel purposes at some point. And again, that fuel window is 73 to 77 laps. Kyle Larson, after finishing second in the stage, will restart as the leader for stage 2. William Byron up to second after staying out of the pits. Bubba Wallace third. Zane Smith fourth. Chase Elliott fifth. So 3 Hendrick Chevys in the top 5. Then you got Ty Gibbs in 6th. Eric Jones 7th. Chris Buescher 8th. Joey Logano 9th. Carson Hocevar rounding out the top 10. Alex Bowman 11th. And Daniel Suarez 12th. We'll take our first break in the stream. You're listening live on KRC. NASCAR Cup Series race coverage continues for the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway. Yeah, Josh Berry definitely a must-win situation. It's not only the 2 DNFs and 2 last place finishes, the fact they were in stage 1. You had no chance at stage points in either race. And the crazy thing is he qualified 3rd at Darlington. Like, something could have been there. Last place, first 2 races. I don't remember the last time that somebody finished dead last in the first 2 races. That's 2 points scored in the first 2 races of the playoffs combined. That is not good. He only had 1 win on the year. He wasn't top 10 in points. I don't know how many stage wins he might have had, but he didn't have a lot of playoff points is what I'm getting at.
Opening stage.
And I'll tell you what, Lee, for only 45 laps, stage 1 was very eventful and, a very impressive stage for Chase Briscoe to get the win. But to me, Kyle Larson pitting and still getting 9 stage points is awfully impressive.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the rest of his Hendrick teammates doing a really good job, too. Chase Elliott getting back to the top to score 8 points. Alex Bowman was back in 29th, going nowhere. Finished 18th in the States, but now is going to start near the top 10. So a big, big move for them.
Can we now answer the question that, yes, those changes that Hendrick Motorsports found here at that tire test with Kyle Larson certainly helped the entire camp. Unfortunately for Josh Berry, it's an early exit today. He's with Ken.
Yeah, Marty, rough 2 weeks for Josh Berry. What happened and what does this mean for your team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a chaotic restart back there after everybody pitted, and we got checked up a little bit to try to, stop Joey in the 38, and the 9 got a run and kind of slid in there, and Louis got a little loose and slid up into us, so. Like, I'm going to be honest, Chase and that team have done a lot for me, and I really doubt that was on purpose. Just wrong place, wrong time for us again, and obviously unfortunate, but I just want to thank everybody at My Brothers Racing and Motorcraft, Quick Lane, all our partners, everybody at Ford. We'll just go to Bristol and try to do the best we can and put ourselves in position to race for a win, and that's really all we can do at this point.
Well, it's a clear pathway now. Win Bristol. Don't want to be in that situation, but there's no confusion about it.
Yeah, it's a must do. A lot of experience in that interview as well. That's a man that's raced a lot of short tracks around the country, and he has probably given those bumps and received them and understands that is kind of the byproduct of tough racing.
A lot of conversation, obviously, about the playoff drivers, but I've had the run so far about Zane Smith, that 38 car, Ty Gibbs, Eric Jones, Chris Buescher, Hocevar, all in the top 10.
I like, too, these calming words from Charles tonight. Crew chief for Bubba Wallace, and they've got that car working better as well. So keep an eye on the McDonald's 23 because he, alongside Zane Smith, have been making the most of that early stage as well.
Yeah, 7 playoff drivers outside the top 25. All of those drivers, Briscoe, Hamlin, Bell, Blaney, Chastain, Cindric, and SVG off pit road, they will be in a mess back there.
Coming back to the top of the show, Jeff, one of the drivers you said who was under pressure to keep an eye on, Joey Logano. Currently sits 9th. In that Hunt Brothers ready to start stage 2. So let's do it. Green flies. Here we go. Larson at the front. His teammate on the inside. Zane Smith, Bubba Wallace in the mix. Logano dives out. So too is the 77 of Carson Hocevar.
Reddick around the top 3 wide back there. Remember, recovering from that first issue up the stacked up, shut the 99 of Suarez low. Everyone through.
I think that was Bowman that stepped out.
Yeah.
It was either Bowman or Reddick was sideways right up against the fence exiting turn 2. Look at Tyler Reddick. That black car, that black and red car. Here he comes. Rounding him up on the outside.
6 spots. Picked up on that restart. Just not afraid at all. Look at this. He's not done.
That's the advantage of this top right here is you should be able to get the power down. There you go. And you'll see what it does on the straightaway. 2 wide in front. We'll see what he has for a choice. He'll stay up top.
This is shades of Homestead last year.
Yeah.
He is spectacular up high.
Eric Jones, he just heard outside. He thought he was the top. Like, no, I can't. You must have the wrong car.
That's why when you talk to team members that work on Tyler Reddick's car, that's why they love him. They love the fact that he's willing to go do this.
I spoke to Billy Scott, his crew chief, yesterday, and he said, it feels like the old Tyler Reddick is back after that race last weekend that frustrated him to finish runner-up, so close to a Southern 500 win. But this guy, this fighter, he's back, and he's ready to race for a championship and try and get himself through at least to the next phase, and as far as he can, through to the championship 4. The Toyota on board. Let's go for a ride.
They continue to give him that third lane.
Here we go, back down. 38 on the right, on the bottom. That quarter bumper, you were clear. So I'll get head behind your 38.
Great information from the spotter. 38 car only on right side tires. So they feel like it's kind of a race to that 38 car. Who can get to him first? He's hanging in there pretty well.
Just over 630 yards down this front stretch, from 5th down to 3rd gear for turns 1 and 2. A Napa on board of Chase Elliott. Today's a day where he needs to turn his playoffs form around. So far, so good.
I'm already at half off by David.
Steve, the speed of the 2 tires. See Reddick underneath Chase Elliott. The speed of the 2 tires in that 38 car is going to get everyone's attention.
It is. It is. Just the challenge is that you can change tires so quick in this vehicle versus fuel. It takes a real interesting window to have that choice. They had it early. I'm not sure if they'll have that later with only 20 laps as Reddick goes to the inside. Reddick just continues to move up. Other cars with new tires. Briscoe all the way up to 15th, Bell 17th.
And Pell's picked up 11 spots, Cindric 10 spots, Frisco 9.
I just don't think you can ignore fresh tires. I mean, I know that the older tires with Briscoe won that stage. I understand that. But winning a stage with clean air is different than running 10th or 15th. With that mid-pack decision to pit, if we get a bunch of yellows, is going to really stress some engineers and crew chiefs.
While Reddick is in a sea of drivers surrounded by so many that pitted on lap 29, he's kind of a standout by himself who pitted on lap 30. Dylan?
As we see Alex Bowman here in the 48 car running in 10th, this is as high as what they did on their pit strategy here, pitting on lap 29, which is the same lap that Kyle Larson pitted. This is the kind of day that they needed. Alex's car has not been bad. They just were buried in traffic, really bad, dirty air. So still in a little traffic, but much better being closer to the front. They gained a few points on the cut line. They didn't want to do anything crazy or dramatic today just to base in. You're doing everything right then for Bowman here.
I go back to what he told Kim Coon in Countdown.
Oh!
It's in the wall.
Oh, here we go, green. Yellow's yellow. They're talking to me about it.
Not sure what started it, but you called it, Lee. It looked like Briscoe had the left front tire locked up.
One east to the right. Flat on to the red right there.
Yeah, you already said, talking about flat spots. Heavy braking into turn 1. 3 wide. Suarez on the outside. Yeah, it's a super heavy braking zone, Steve. A little bit of contact prior to getting to turn 1, but just 19 car locks the left front up, and then it doesn't turn. When that left front tire is sliding, it is not going to make the corner.
Yeah, I mean, shocking to me, he locked up the tire. I agree with the heavy braking, but unlike a Martinsville where you see it in practice, I haven't seen any tires locked up, but somewhere in that 3 wide and the entry speed and just in a situation, but no doubt left front locks up, gets into the 99, sends him into the wall at flat spot on the left front of the 19, probably require a pit stop. It's been a good look. On board with Bell. You know, like, it's not like the 19 is going way faster than the 20, but obviously something upset the car enough where that left front locked up. And now with 80 or now 79 laps to go in the stage, this is kind of a fuel window at the end of stage 2. And for that reason, pit road becomes very busy. Another split decision. We're going to say that every time the caution comes out, I think.
So you got Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Ty Gibbs, Dylan Welsh is standing by.
And here's Joey Logano, first pit stall on pit road. He said he was 4-wheel sliding through the corner in dirty air. Not a bad balance, just needs more grip for the 22, Kim.
Yeah, and you heard Chase Briscoe radio to the team. Definitely flat spot of the tires. We're going to need new ones. Left side tires only for our stage 1 winner. And something has gone awry there in the left rear. I don't know if they can't get the tire off. Marty.
Wallace has Claudia right. Chase Briscoe still fights trying to get that left rear tire on, and now they're going to go ahead and make a 4-tire car call here for James Small and Chase Briscoe. Meanwhile, Bubba Wallace gave up all that track position at the front to come down right here. Steve, you mentioned it. Now just 78 to go in stage 2. In theory, you could be able to stretch it.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Come out.
Thought there was a chance that USA Network was glitching out on me there for a second. That's pretty bad. It wasn't a lag out on Hulu. It was just frozen, screen frozen. It's right before they went to commercial. Think we're okay though. So Daniel Suarez, hard contact with the outside wall after contact to his left rear from Chase Briscoe, running 3 wide, battling for position, middle of the pack, right around 15th or so. Suarez gets up against the wall, causing another caution. 4th yellow of the day, 3rd for incident, 53 minutes into the race. 4 lead changes as well in this one. Kyle Larson, our current race leader, out ahead of William Byron. Then Chase Elliott, Zane Smith, Tyler Reddick, the top 5, Eric Jones in 6th. Just beyond that, So right on the edge of the fuel window to make it to the end of stage 2 without having to make another pit stop. We're at lap 63 of 240 in today's NASCAR Cup Series race at Gateway. Sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. We'll take another quick break. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage.
NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? And by Xfinity. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs presented by Golden Corral. Beautiful day here in St. Louis. Let's have a look at Chase Briscoe. His stop, last week's winner. What went wrong? These guys were second best on pit road last weekend. Stevie?
Yeah, left side only because they're going to lock up the left front, and something goes wrong on the left rear. I can't tell with all the crew members in the way. I'm not sure if the tire wants to go on or they can't get it seated up against the drive pins or exactly what happens. And then we heard on the radio that just change rights. That'll be under penalty. You can't change lefts first for a myriad of rules. But
I didn't
now
know that.
Comes back in. I'm guessing to top it off, which is a great idea because now they're going to probably commit to running all the way to the end of this stage again.
Correct, Steve. James told his driver Chase Briscoe, we top off now. We should be able to make it to the end of stage 2. No adjustments, though. Felt pretty good before he locked up those front tires, and he didn't have that big issue on pit road.
It won't make you feel better at the moment, but when you go back and look at last week, they're going to feel a little better knowing that they're already through because it'll take the pressure off. This restart should be crazy. We've seen 2 and 3 wide. Reddick has used the third lane as onboard crease that BuiltSomeReads.com camera. We've seen Larson run the third lane.
The spotters all paid attention to that. The driver saw it as well, so expect more to try it.
Keep an eye on that 45. Tyler Reddick on the last restart was exceptional. Watch him up on the high side. He's got Carson Hocevar right behind him. Eric Judge there in the Family Dollar Toyota Camry. AJ Allman there in the 16. But on the front row, it's an all Hendrick Motorsports front row. Larson and Byron. We're back to it in stage 2. Armendinger making life difficult for SVG. Bowman's there. Around the outside goes Joey Logano. On the inside, in that blue and white Camry, is Denny Hamlin making up good positions. And how about Zane Smith? Here comes Hocevar looking for an inside option on Smith. Does he go all the way? He drives Smith up high, and he may have been able to sneak his way through.
Yeah, look at this mess. I watch this every week, and I wonder how they don't wreck more often. It's so aggressive.
Christopher Bell in that 20. In the DeWalt Camry, he's working on Carson Hocevar.
He was putting on a passing clinic before this last caution. He passed a ton of cars.
Ty Gibbs, the 54, pitted from the 8th position. He had a penalty for vehicle interference, so probably encroached on another pit stop. So he's all the way at the back of the field as well.
Here comes Bubba Wallace, and he had really good track position. He was second at the time of that caution coming out. He came in for a stop, and now he's starting to work his way forward. He's in 8th at the moment behind Zane Smith. Gregson up high. There's Briscoe caught in the middle on the low side of Cole Custer.
Christopher Bell. His car looks really good this weekend. Had a conversation with him this morning. That sworn yellow and black car. He was excited about it today. Felt like he had a really fast race car. He's showing it right now.
Well, he was in the mix last year, Jeff. As you remember, he could have won this race a year ago, and with 18 laps to go, he had a mechanical issue, and that took a possible victory away from him. And then that was before the Ryan Blaney running out of fuel incident. So it was a very eventful end to this race last June. We've got so much to look forward to here. There's a couple of Toyotas go door to door. Fight for third between Reddick and Bell.
Look at Bell. He's able to stay on the bottom of the racetrack and rolls the middle so well and did this slides right up in front of Tyler Reddick. That's impressive.
Toyota on board of Tyler Reddick. Have a listen.
We've laughed to provide the 20 here.
Incredible week last week in Darlington for Toyota as far as their representation. And here today, the Toyota driver update shows us that Christopher Bell is the highest place. Then Reddick, his teammate Wallace. Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter, just back a little further in 11th.
Joey Logano, 2 tires at lap 62, slowly moving forward. It's kind of a mixed decision. The 11 of Denny Hamlin as well. Hamlin in 10th. He also got 2 tires at 62. Marty.
All of a sudden, SVG going the wrong direction. Restarted 18th, now 25th.
Oh.
Just radioed to Stephen Dorrance. I might have a flat.
Oh.
He said, feel it out as much as you can, but let me know as soon
Risky.
as you can if you think it truly is a flat.
Tough decision for a driver to try to decide if the tire's flat, right? You ride it out until it goes down. You can get into the wall. You pit, and there's nothing wrong with your car. You just feel awful about it. And I love when the crew chief, all you can do on top of the pit box is encourage whatever decision the driver makes. You have to support him. He's the only guy out there feeling it. You see 15 spots lost since the restart.
He is just nursing it. That's frustrating because he pitted on the same lap as Christopher Bell, who's powering in 3rd. Look up top, the teammates from 2311, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace.
I'm going to tell you, Jeff, it's hard to tell exactly because there's just been so much kind of chaos, but it looks to me that equal cars, tires really matter. Now, there are some cars that just have standout speed like Larson and Elliott running 1-2 with the oldest tires in the field. You just wonder where that goes over the next 67 laps and if there's a clip to this tire fall off. Let's listen in to the 45 of Reddick running 4th currently.
We are going to be a lap down if we're stuck in the 20 if this plays out, right? Correct. Just for a little bit. Cannot make it to the end now. 3 all.
So some communication about just where this is going to cycle out and who has to pit and who doesn't. Everyone that chose not to pit at lap 62 for sure has to make a pit stop. Now, I believe there's a lot of drivers from lap 62 that are going to try to stretch it. Remember, we talk a lot about all the shifting and all the brakes. That allows a driver to use less input and save some gas. We'll see if somebody like, say, Bubba Wallace, who was last on pit road at lap 62, are they going to try to stretch it, Barney?
Steve can confirm. Just talked to Charles and Ike a moment ago. Said pitting at 62. Are you good to make it to the end of the stage? He said, yes, we should be fine from there. No problem. But we know most of the cars around us cannot make it to the end of the stage. So interesting. A lot of strategies playing out here in stage 2. Still 65 to go.
Now, what does a green flag pit stop mean? You lose about 28 seconds plus a pit stop. We'll call it 38 seconds with a normal pit stop. Lap times around 34, 35 seconds. So you absolutely will be lapped.
Yellow.
Oh, there you go.
Ty Dillon's around.
Ty Dillon in the DraftKings Chevy for Corlig Racing.
Rear damage here, guys.
Running 32nd in the 10 car. It's going to be a big jumble up in the field again. This is where it's so tough. If you're Larson and Elliott, I think you absolutely have to pit now because you just got to get fuel on board to make it to the end of the stage. But all those cars at 62, they only have about 10 laps on their tires. They're probably going to stay out because these cautions, if you were short, they're going to connect you to that stage.
And almost everybody in the field has found themselves mid-pack or backpack, have to work themselves through it. It's been chaotic so far.
AMR safety team on the spot as fast as always. Let's see if we can decipher what happened to Ty Dillon here.
Yeah,
Oh,
contact. Yeah, he just wasn't sure who that was.
His
That's
brother.
Brother, yeah.
Brotherly
It's
love.
been a struggle. It's been a struggle with the 3 team today. Car has just been a handful. Sure, he got down in the corner and just couldn't keep it on the bottom.
Let's have another look at it. Look to the top of your screen.
Yeah, he just gets to the bottom of the racetrack, gets loose, gets up there and unfortunately gets his brother. I've been there. It's a terrible feeling.
What was
You've
that
been there
conversation like?
specifically wrecking your brother? Hold on.
Yeah. What was that conversation like?
Well, I've got several stories. Mom and Dad didn't think it was so cool. I can tell you that.
He slid that right in. Like we weren't going to catch it. Let's listen in to what the driver of the 3 said.
Yeah, get loose. I would never want to do that. That's long. Back here driving all three of us. I'm so sorry.
Let's get Warburton on the line, Steve. Let's just see what the other side of this story is like.
I really don't think that we need to hear his side.
Well, you heard the sincerity in Austin's voice there. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, we
Got
joke.
my hands full. We know that from the start of the race.
Yeah, we joke about it, but obviously he felt terrible about it, and Ty will know that. Ty will understand it. He'll watch a replay and he'll see it for his own eyes.
This is going to be a required decision, although a tough decision for the front cars. They're going to come in, put them on the right side of fuel, but as expected, a lot of cars stay out, as you said, Jeff. It's just everyone at some point today is going to seem to cycle their way to the back. What a day it's been for Hendrick Motorsports, though, especially for Kyle Larson. He's led 52 laps. That's more than Hendrick has led here combined in the 3 previous visits to this racetrack. So super productive for the 5. As we work our way through the stops, Dylan Welsh kicks us off. And good news for Christopher Bell. Wherever he restarts, there's confidence they can get back to the front. Right side, he said he could be freer in 3 and 4, but about perfect in 1 and 2, Kim.
Slightly tight has been the complaint for Tyler Reddick. He said he's still half a number, so they'll make a slight air pressure adjustment. But for fresh Goodyear tires, Snow Fuel. Chase Elliott said it's turning good. I don't have much for you. Routine service for the 9 car, Marty.
Watch him on a fork in a strategy road here in St. Louis. Kyle Larson said the car just so good. Just a little bit free on the entry of 3. That's really his only complaint all day long, going with 4 fresh Goodyear tires here. 62 to go in the stage. All these cars who fit here clearly able to make it to the end of the stage.
Did you notice Reddick took off with the fuel can still attached?
Uh-oh.
Watch this.
He does a nice job of not letting the fuel can slide out, so no penalty for the 45. This is a dangerous situation. Great job by that pit crew member, kind of playing defense.
You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs presented by Golden Corral.
Hey, it's right.
Yeah, it was a 3-wide battle with some contact just behind the 45 leaving the pits. I thought we were going to see another issue on pit road for the 45 team, sending them to the back, but luckily that the fuel can, despite being still intact with the back of the race car, did not come out of the pit box as Reddick left the stall. 17 drivers stayed out on the racetrack and did not hit pit road. 18th on back will have fresh tires. Only right sides, though, for Christopher Bell, who will be in 18th after winning the race out of the pits. Everybody else took 4 behind him. Thanks to all of you guys that have tuned in for today's live commentary stream at Gateway. 5 cautions already. This matches the same amount of yellows we had in this race a season ago. Guaranteed 1 more yellow with the stage break at lap 140, so quite a few cautions already today. Now, the first 2 Cup races at Gateway, 2022 and 2023, we had 10 cautions and 11 cautions in those 2 races. So this is kind of looking more like the 2022-2023 Gateway races rather than last season, where it was, for the most part, clean and green. Had a few yellows for incident, but that was it. So Bubba Wallace going to be the leader on the restart. Joey Logano second, Denny Hamlin third, Alex Bowman up to fourth, Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney, the Penske Fords, in fifth and sixth. Briscoe in 17th will be last of those that stayed out of the pits. Briscoe was our stage 1 winner here today at Gateway. 5 lead changes in the race. Bubba Wallace leading for the first time under caution. 3 laps led for him. Denny Hamlin's led 2 different times for 10 laps. 52 laps led for Kyle Larson in the race. He's led twice as well. And Chase Briscoe has led 1 time for 15 laps. Just over an hour in, 80 laps in out of 240.
4 different series racing: the Arca Menard Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and of course the Cup Series race on Saturday night. So there's the layout for you. It's going to be busy.
Watch this right here.
Just like pit road.
William Byron on the outside. Gibbs has to miss the 77. Contact with the left front fender of William Byron. You can see a little bit of damage, Steve. It doesn't look too bad, though.
Yeah, it looks to me like just some scuffed body work. Tire looks good. No damage at the bottom where that white little corner of the splitter is.
It's all that
I was
matters.
reading the 24 radio. He doesn't even mention it. Oh, right. The decal's tore on the fender. That's what the spotter said. So they like our camera angle, but it's a really nice job by all 3 cars of kind of just getting on the brake. 77 did all he could. The 54, the 24.
It's the most narrow pit road on the circuit. It's very tight.
It's a good spread there of various widths on the tracks that we race at.
How about Joey Logano? Where'd he come from?
Yeah.
If you put a position graph up of all these different cars, it is going to look like sound waves because it's forward, back, forward, 2 tires, 4 tires. It's total chaos. And I'll be honest, depending on when the yellows come out, it's not obvious who's in the best position yet, right? Like, why if this runs simple to the end, Wallace, Logano, Hamlin, they look great. Bowman, right? If there's another cycle, then Larson and those guys are going to cycle to the front. So you kind of just pick the roadmap and you hope a little bit that strategy comes your way.
Unfortunately for Trackhouse fans and Daniel Suarez, he has been seen and released from the infield medical center and is out of this race. So, Jeff, I want to come back to you at the top of the show. You said the pressure was on 2 drivers in particular, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott. They've both been featuring today.
Yeah, they have. I know all the pit sequences have helped them at times, and it's also hurt them at times. But when they've gotten their track position, they've been able to keep it. That was part of my concern, is I didn't see a ton of speed from them yesterday. And this mixed strategy, the highest running is 18 from the guys that just pitted. That's Christopher Bell.
Look who else is up there. The 48, the Allied Chevy of Alex Bowman, who desperately needs a good day. But this has been ever-changing, ever-cycling. It's just been one of those days here in St. Louis. Let's get a green with 58 laps to go in Stage 2. Bubba Wallace leads the field to green.
Look at the mess mid-pack. Larson, that 5 car right in the middle, 3 wide.
Ooh.
Elliott up against the fence as well as Bubba stretches his legs down this back straight. Then Logano on the inside is Alex Bowman of Denny Hamlin. And then Ryan Blaney is in there as well. And John Hunter Nemechek in that white and green Pied Parker Camry.
Talk about how aggressive you have to be. Check out William Byron. He was just on pit road. Look how late he makes it 3 wide. Contact entering the corner all the way down on the curve. It is rough down there. Check it out. Right along.
Well, that's the kind of move that young Carson Hocevar pulls off. So he just Hocevar.
Basically.
Hamlin and Bowman, side by side. I like what Alex Bowman told Kim Coon in Countdown to Green. He said that's the best thing about the Cup Series. Yeah, we had a rough week last week, but you get another chance to re-rack and go again the following week.
Hey, I have to have a short memory in this sport. If you let bad weekends drag you down, you're going to have a long career.
Here comes Chase Elliott in the Napa Chevy, looking for a way through.
Look at Reddick, still 3 wide top. He'll get to the outside of the 9.
Riley Herbst, Noah Gregson there. Reddick's trying to go around Gregson. Elliott's caught up in this pack. His teammate is right there with William Byron.
Oh. Wow, that was close.
Did Priest get into the wall?
I think so.
Maybe not. We'll see. Let's have a look at it.
Didn't damage the car any if he
Guys
did.
are aggressive today. Now that William Byron, yeah, I think pretty stick in the wall a little bit. I think the 9 was a little bit into the 24 there as well.
Alex Bowman at the top of the screen, now under attack from Blaney. 48 doing a nice job of trying to manufacture some success in this day. They qualify poorly, but they have cycled their way into the top 5. 53 laps to go, though. A lot of racing to figure it out.
Well, I think we've heard Dylan Welsh say 2 or 3 times so far in this race, Christopher Bell has made his way back. So let's hear it again. Christopher Bell has made his way up 10 positions since the restart. That JGR Toyota is flying today. And he's up tonight, Dylan.
Yeah, this has been remarkable to watch. Every time he comes by us here in the front straightaway, it seems like he's 2 or 3 cars further ahead than he was. And that was by design. Adam Stevens came on the radio here on this restart and just said, hey, remember exactly what you did the last restart? They've driven from 27th to about 20th and maybe 1 or 2 laps the last time, and he is on pace to do it again. The good news is, as hard as everybody thought it was going to be to pass, the 20 car has found a way. They are really strong.
He's doing this on 2 tires. The last pit, I saw him put 2 tires on, and he was the only one on pit road on that stop that did put 2 on. And I was thinking, well, maybe they were going to regret that because really they, possibly with everybody else doing 4, they really didn't gain anything by doing 2, but it certainly doesn't seem to be hurting them.
Sometimes, depending on your car balance, 2 can actually make it a little better. If you're struggling, especially with rear grip, I've always found 2 tires get it a little bit tighter. Warm, aired up left side tires kind of snug up your car.
Bell's the lead one on that strategy for those who stopped on lap 78. He's in a sea of drivers who pitted on lap 62, like the race leader Bubba Wallace, as we check in with Kim Kern. Kim?
Ross Chastain, also one of the drivers that stopped on lap 62, took tires, and we heard Steve just talk about how taking 2 tires can make you tight. Well, that's exactly what Ross Chastain is feeling in the car. He's a tight center. In fact, tightest he's been all day. He is running in the top 8 right now, hoping to hold that spot. The goal for the team is to get stage points in both stages, as well as a top 10 finish. Stage points, stage points. Right now, I'm trying to do it stage 2. You can hold on to that track position.
Long way to go, but if Chastain can just maintain, keep doing what he's doing, he came in 8th in the playoff point structure. He's currently running 7th. We've got a long way to go. 149 laps left in this Enjoy Illinois 300. There's 49 to go in this second stage, and 23.11's Bubba Wallace leads the way.
So there you have it. 49 laps to go yet in stage number 2 here today at Gateway. Lap 93 of 240 to this point. Bubba Wallace leads, Joey Logano in second, Denny Hamlin third, and Ryan Blaney just made a pass for 4th on Alex Bowman. Bowman is now in 5th. Christopher Bell is up to 6th place. He is up 12 positions since the restart, that being Bell. Jonathan Nemechek is in 7th. Ross Chastain 8th. Austin Cindric 9th. And Kyle Larson rounds out the top 10. 11th for Brad Keselowski. Chris Buescher up to 12th. Tyler Reddick 13th, William Byron 14th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 15th, Michael McDowell 16th, 17th for Noah Gragson, 18th Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs 19th, and Riley Herbston 20th, 21st Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch 22nd, Ryan Preece 23rd, Carson Hocevar 24th, Eric Jones 25th, AJ Allmendinger 26th, Zane Smith 27th, Cole Custer 28th, Shane Van Gisbergen 29th, and Todd Gillen 30th. 31st for Austin Dillon, Justin Haley 32nd, Cody Ware 33rd, Ty Dillon 34th, Daniel Suarez and Josh Berry 35th, 36th. They are both out of the race. So only 2 drivers out. Ty Dillon, after his crash, still in the race. Contact with Austin Dillon on one of the restarts that we have had so far today, which we have had for 5 cautions, 5 lead changes with that. 26 laps spent under yellow, 1 hour, 17 minutes plus into the race for these first 95 laps. So it's kind of your race update. Chase Briscoe, who won stage 1 in this one, is currently riding in the 20th place position. So he picked up a playoff point, which will carry over for him into the round of 12 as he has already advanced into that round. Christopher Bell making a pass on Alex Bowman during the side-by-side commercial break. So now Bell up to 5th. 13 positions gained for Bell since the restart, most of any driver. Larson up 10 spots to position number 10. Same for Byron up to 14th. And 8 spots gained for Tyler Reddick and 13th. Thomas Robinson, welcome to the stream. I don't think I shouted you out yet. Same for Matthew Dorter Bruno. Appreciate you tuning in, guys. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Live commentary coverage continues here on KRC of the Enjoy Illinois 300. Quite a long ways to go yet in this race. Larson to the inside of Ross Chastain. Going to make quick work of him in turns 1 and 2. Well clear off the exit of the corner. Chastain carries the momentum down the back straightaway. He'll give a quick little push to Larson, just trying to keep the momentum up. Had no intentions of trying to cross him over, knowing Larson's got fresher tires. Austin Cindric closing in pretty quickly behind that one car as well. Walsh's lead over Logano, 1.2 seconds. 1.7 seconds to Hamlin in third, and 3.2 seconds to Ryan Blaney in fourth. Christopher Bell, 3.8 seconds off the lead in fifth. That is the top 5 right now, and the intervals between them. 43 laps to go now at stage 2, as a few more laps have clicked away. Wall's putting down some decent laps. He's not the fastest car on the racetrack right now, but he's faster than the guys who are on the same strategy as him. On top of the fact that he has a clean air advantage. Walls was 6th at the end of stage 1, scored 5 points there, and after a great week at Darlington a week ago, finishing inside the top 10, a ton of stage points, he comes into the day plus 25 points above the cut line. Even if he doesn't win the race, assuming he's going to get a lot of stage points at stage 2 as well, things are looking pretty good for Bubba Wallace to advance his way out of the round of 16 and into the round of 12.
The middle of the red hat. So much experience of just creating opportunity, right? He has 43 wins as a crew chief and 520 starts, 3 championships. So when you just, we talk about Joey's success, but he has a lot of success on top of the pit box as well. And the combination has been really successful with creativity, Dylan.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. And, I asked Paul earlier this morning, I said, with your backs against the wall or all this pressure you're putting on today, what can you guys do to make sure that? And then he said, definitely this word execution. I knew that could start the racetrack actually for the Fox too. If we still shooting their championship run, so many times that they looked like they maybe weren't the best car, they weren't the best car, and Paul and Joey just found a way to make it happen. So they've done that today. Long way to go still, but the car is, as you said, Steve, okay, but much better when they're at the front of the field like they are now.
I will tell you, Joey Logano is the type of driver, if I'm racing against him, I want to eliminate him. I don't want him to hang around, because it seems like that race at Las Vegas last year was Christopher Bell's race, and then out of nowhere, Joey Logano goes further than anybody could on fuel and gets that win. Next thing you know, he's in the championship four. Next thing you know, he's the champion. Like, you just don't want him hanging around. If you get him down, you need to eliminate him. They're not down right now, running second, but had a little bit slow start from last week.
Joey's a rare mixture of an athlete that on the field, he is an absolute beast. He is selfish, self-centered, going to do what he has to do for he and his team. Off the field, he'll do anything to help anybody. It's very hard to do both of those things, but Joey Logano does a really good job of understanding when it's time to be race car Joey, race car driver Joey, and when to be a good human being Joey.
Just going back to your point, Steve, about that Las Vegas example, we quite often heard his competitors, his peers say, that's Logano doing Logano things.
Yeah. Well, behind him, Denny Hamlin is kind of doing Denny Hamlin things, and he is finding a new level of performance when it matters, right? He sat on both poles last week. He was one of the many teams who kind of tripped up on pit road, fought a hard-fought way all the way back to 7th, right? So now he's just trying to kind of keep that momentum going. You see on the left side, NASCAR Insights defensive ranks, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, no surprise, they're 1 and 2. Denny Hamlin there at 7th. He's realizing right now Joey Logano's number 1 in defense. He tries to run him down to make a pass. And this is kind of a foot-by-foot type of thing, right, Jeff? You just got to continue to run in a different lane and close in inch by inch, foot by foot.
Yeah, that's what drivers like about this racetrack is the ability to run in different lanes. It gives you an opportunity to just get a little bit of clean air,
Don't have to run right behind the guy in front of you. See Christopher Bell, he was running really high on corner entry. Just wild to watch the drivers around here. You make the same lap time doing it 3 different ways.
And since that last restart, Christopher Bell has made up 15 positions. It's also been an incredibly productive day for the driver of the 5, Kyle Larson. Let's talk more about him.
Yeah, Lee, now 35 laps to go here in stage 2. In essence, there are 2 strategies working here. Those who pitted at lap 62 and those like Kyle Larson who pitted at lap 78. And Kyle Larson, as Cliff Daniels, did that last caution help or hurt us? Here was Daniels' answer.
For us to hit under green and take 4 turns of fuel, we would not have been able to stay on the lead lap ahead of the guys that had pitted it. So it pretty much stresses at that point. If it has gone to green, I think we're going to be set up well for a scheduled 3-stop race. But being able to flip that.
The crew chiefs always have to adjust on the fly, but here's the maybe side benefit that I think crew chiefs and people on pit road are starting to notice. You mentioned it a moment ago, Lee. Christopher Bell coming through the field, 19th to 4th since this restart, and Larson 20th to 7th since this restart on those fresh Goodyear tires. So our tires maybe a little more important than you thought they might be coming into the day, Steve.
I definitely think new tires, you could play offense. This is a track before where we've seen new tires really not go anywhere. That's not been the case today. So I do think the crew chiefs are going to have to adjust a little bit in that final stage and decide, how far back is it worth it to have new tires. The other thing I'll add to all of that is when we get to the end of this stage, if it does run green, certain cars are going to need more fuel than others. So I think the field's kind of get jumbled up again.
This is almost the longest green flag run that we have had today.
Yeah, Christopher Bell is a man on a mission right now, working the outer line through 3 and 4 as he grows ever so close to the back of the 11 of Hamlin for 3rd and Joey Logano right in front of that in 2nd. This trio is about 3 seconds off of the race lead from Bubba Wallace. Kind of pulled away from the 22 and the 11. Bell has fresher tires, though, and is running the fastest laps of anybody on the racetrack. Kyle Larson not that far off of Bell speed-wise. And also in the position running game, he's only 3 spots behind him currently as well. Lap 109 of 240 and 32 laps to go in stage number 2. Wallace leads the second stage currently. Joey Logano in 2nd, Denny Hamlin 3rd, Christopher Bell 4th, Ryan Blaney in 5th, Alex Bowman is 6th, Kyle Larson 7th, John Hunter Nemechek 8th, Ross Chastain 9th, and Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. Bell was closing in on the 11 and the 22. The 11 of Denny Hamlin is now looking to the inside of Logano rather than Bell trying to make the pass on Hamlin. Pass attempt was not made, though, by Denny through 3 and 4 on the inside. And Bell will take to the bottom instead now on Hamlin after the loss of momentum for the 11. Bell slides the rear tires quite a bit on that lower line of the racetrack, rounding his way through 1 and 2, and Hamlin will pull him down the back straight into turn 3. Even separation between the 2nd and 3rd cars as well as the 3rd to 4th place cars. Ryan Blaney in 5th has kind of lost these few cars up in front of him. I'd say if there was more of a side-by-side battle, maybe he could get up here in the battle for 2nd, but it's not the case. You may be able to sneak to the inside of somebody for a brief moment in the corner, but by corner exit, car on the outside's just got so much more momentum, straighter line exit speed, and can't get back to the gas as soon on the bottom lane of the racetrack to actually hold door to door. Hamlin going to do his best this time, and he might actually be able to off turn 4 on Joey Logano. It's going to be very tight. Hamlin's all over the left rear corner panel. Logano now off the wall down the front stretch to block just a bit on the 11. Bell to the inside, but he's in the dirty air behind Logano. Logano trying to mirror block basically on both of them as he washes up to the middle upper groove of the racetrack in the center of the corner. Doing his best to try to cover both cars as much as possible. Still losing time to the 23 car. Hamlin ships it way up the racetrack. Now he was in the dirty air in the same line behind Logano. Clean air on the bottom for Bell. Bell up to 3rd. Clears Hamlin out of turn 4. going to be interesting to see how the 20 makes the pass on the 22, because if he fails to do so, will Hamlin have enough to get back by Bell? The longer it takes Bell to get by Logano, that's going to dictate how much time he's going to have to try to catch the 23 before the end of the second stage. Bell looking low through 3 and 4. Closes the gap a bit on Logano. 3.7 seconds the difference between P1 and P2 now. 3.9 to Bell and 4.3 seconds to Hamlin in 4th. Ryan Blaney still 5.2 seconds off the lead in 5th. Now Bell looks to the inside. Again on Logano. It seems like he gets a better run through 3 and 4 on the bottom, not as much on the bottom lane through 1 and 2. Bell's not rounding the curb all the way around the bottom of the track through 1 and 2 like he is in 3 and 4 either. About a lane off of it. The later we get into these gateway races, the harder and harder it is to pass. Because as the groove widens out, the higher line ran just gives you that much more corner exit speed compared to running the bottom line of the racetrack. You can get clean air on the bottom, but the rotation through the middle of the corner to beat the car to your outside lane is going to be a lot lower of a chance to make that pass because of the straightaway speed difference between the two lines. If Bell can keep up with him enough off of turn 2, he's able to charge the entry to 3 really hard. Can he get alongside of him for there and then hold alongside of him down the front stretch? That would create the window of opportunity needed to make the pass. He just hasn't been able to actually get to the outside of Logano by the exit of 1 corner. He's not going to be able to go up there and outright just pass him without getting alongside of him first. At least I don't think so. Not unless the 22 had to step way out of the race. Way out of the gas. Spit it out. There we go. We're good now. Fuel load definitely going to be light for those that did not pit during the most recent caution to try to make it to the end of the second stage on fuel. I would like to think most of them will be able to make it, if not all of them. Should bring a vast majority of the cars onto pit road, as I believe we've already eclipsed the longest green flag run of the race, which I believe is only 27 or 28 laps before this. Went green with, I believe, 49 to go, maybe a little more than that. Could have had more than 50 laps left in the stage from the last restart. So Bell a little bit quicker than Wallace as he closes on Logano some as well. Now Bell looks to the inside through 3 and 4. This time he's alongside of Logano through the center of the corner. Hasn't even been that close to him yet, but by the exit, Logano's clear by well over a car length. 167 miles an hour on entry into turn 1 for Christopher Bell. Slides the rear tire, center of the corner. Still free, middle off. A 16-lap difference in tires, I would imagine, has wore off by this point in the run. I think we've had enough green flag laps, kind of even the playing field there. Good opportunity for Christopher Bell in the 20 that he was able to get the track position needed. Probably burned up a little bit of his stuff doing so. As strong as he looks, he's definitely got the striking distance to try to get this race win as long as they can execute with 2 more pit stops yet to go for fuel purposes to make it to the end of the race. 18 to go this time by in the second stage. current playoff battle as they run. All they're showing on the USA Network graphic underneath the leaderboard is 5th through 16th. Currently, as they run, Ryan Blaney plus 48 points, plus 40 for Reddick, Bell plus 39, plus 38 for William Byron, Ross Chastain plus 36, Logano plus 26 after coming in minus 3, plus 22 for Cindric, came in plus 12. Elliott, who came in plus 9, is plus 14. He's actually the last driver in over his teammate Alex Bowman. Bowman minus 14 came into the day minus 19. SVT, who came in plus 3, is now minus 19. Austin Dillon, who was minus 9, is now minus 28. And Josh Berry, who was minus 19 out of the races in last again, minus 47. More than likely must-win situation for Berry next week at Bristol. And it's maybe looking that way for Austin Dillon in the 3 as well. They can't get a quick turnaround in stage 3. Still got about half the race to go. We're a little bit past halfway, but there's time. 2 more pit stops. We don't know how cautions may lay out in stage 3. Will it be like the first couple of stages where we had a couple for incident, or we'll go clean and green to the end? And we have a basic final stage where most of the teams are going to split the run in half. I'd imagine most of these teams are going to try to split it as close to halfway as they can. It's an underratedly longer pit road at Gateway, especially with the speed limit only being 40 miles per hour. Don't want to risk yourself getting trapped a lap down by short pitting, but depends on the situation you're in, I guess. How your season's gone, whether you're in the playoffs, not in the playoffs, can dictate strategy calls. They'll realize the bottom lane of the racetrack was not working in turns 1 and 2 at least. He tried to run even higher than Joey Logano through the center of the corner. He's closing the gap a little bit on entry into 3. Bell goes right back to the inside again through 3 and 4. Logano better up high this time around than what he was the lap before, and Logano holds on for second. This battle for second's been on screen for a while between the 22 and the 20. The 20's doing everything he can to try to work over Joey Logano, just can't get alongside of him off the exit of the corner. He was actually pretty close about a lap and a half ago off of turn 4. Probably the closest he had been the whole race to getting up as high as that second place running order. Lost ground through 1 and 2 the last lap, and now he's got more time to try to get back through 3 and 4 and then some. I don't think there's been a single change of position in the top 10 in the running order in a little while throughout the course of the race. So again, 12 laps to go in stage 2 this time by. Full field running order rundown has Bubba Wallace in the race lead, Joey Logano second, Christopher Bell third, Denny Hamlin fourth, Ryan Blaney in fifth, then Kyle Larson sixth, seventh for Alex Bowman, Jonathan Nemechek in eighth, Ross Chastain ninth, Austin Cindric is 10th, 11th for Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher in 12th, William Byron 13th, Tyler Reddick 14th, and Chase Elliott 15th. 16th place, Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs 17th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 18th, Michael McDowell 19th, Noah Gragson in 20th, then Kyle Busch 21st, 22nd for Carson Hocevar, Eric Jones 23rd, Riley Herbst 24th, Zane Smith 25th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 26th, AJ Allmendinger 27th, Austin Dillon 28th, Cole Custer 29th, and Ryan Preece 30th, 31st Justin Haley, 32nd Todd Gilliland, Cody Ware last car in the lead lap in 33rd, Ty Dillon a lap down 34th, and again the 2 cars out of the race, Daniel Suarez 35th and Josh Berry 36th. So that rounds out the field. Lap 130 of 140. 10 to go. Stage 2 this time by. Wallace's lead is now 2.7 seconds over Logano and Bell. So Logano's pace has quickened up. These two have both pulled away from Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's now getting reeled in very quickly by Blaney and Larson.
He just carries more momentum. Larson underneath Blaney.
Larson with 4 tires, the Bell's 2 on that pit stop, and look at Blaney just power around the outside. Won't let the 5 slide him.
Well, this fight continues.
And the 5 might have a chance to overdrive the entry here and just slide up in front of the 12. Let's see what he does. See if he overcooks the entry. Oh, he can't do it. The 12 drives right in on his door and up the hill. What a great view of this battle.
That is such a difficult.
Oh, man. Slight contact enough to unsettle Ryan Blaney, but he keeps going. There's quite a gap behind these guys as well. As you go back to Alex Bowman, who's really trying to resurrect things for his playoff chances. And then John Hunter Nemechek, as these two continue to go at it with 8.5 laps to go in stage 2.
So right here, the 5 is able to roll the bottom, makes up ground in the middle, but watch this 12 car. Just in the gas, able to carry more speed because it can actually go to the throttle sooner running that top lane. Larson now is going to try the middle.
We've mentioned several times throughout today's show about the test earlier in the year here at Worldwide Technology Raceway by the 5 and Kyle Larson. And Kyle said in the lead up to today's race, if I can have a good St. Louis, I look down the road to saying I can have a good Phoenix, and he has a good run off the final turn to try and get the edge on Ryan Blaney, and Blaney comes back yet again.
Something happened to Blaney on exit. I saw fire out the pipes, which forced him to kind of burp the throttle. I don't know if he was tight right there. I thought that was going to be enough, but it wasn't. And that just adds to the aggravation of Kyle Larson, who thought he had finally got where he needed to be.
These two guys have been at it for quite a few laps. That's AJ Allmendinger and Shane Van Gisbergen. They went at it way back on a restart.
Oh, Blaney's around.
Look down.
What has happened
There you go, look out.
to the driver who won here, almost won here, I should say, a year ago?
We saw how aggressive
Did Larson get into him?
was. The Fallons for 5th. Larson from way back to the bottom of the racetrack slides up. And
Oh, Larson.
Blaney. Man, Blaney's going to be hot about that. I mean, I just don't know how Kyle Larson's going to be able to explain that to Blaney.
I mean, he chases it up the banking right into him. Oh, boy.
Yes, oh boy.
But I didn't see where Blaney had done anything wrong in that battle. I mean, he was racing him hard, but that's what you're supposed to do. Coming toward the end of the stage, everybody racing points.
And if you think about it, several laps ago, there was front to rear contact coming off turn 4, where Larson unsettled Blaney as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, the tedious task of passing is going to be an emotional thing, but the 5, to your point, Jeff, I would love to hear some sort of explanation, because I cannot come up with one other than he just went in there and got the 12. Let's listen into what Blaney has to say.
Oof. He says, I am being smart. Just tell me where I need to line up. Ryan Blaney.
Well, they're coming to pit road too wide. NASCAR is going to have to deal with this because pit road's open. The lineup is still in question, apparently, or I'm not sure what's going on here, but this is messy.
Blaney is hot.
We heard Blaney say, tell me where to line up.
Everybody out there, so you're right where you're supposed to be. They never told me. I've been not trying to tell them. So they call me here. Get some of this tires on it.
Take it away, Dylan.
Christopher Bell, top right of the screen, really happy with this race car, as you'd expect. Said he got a little bit free, but think it's pretty good. They'll change 4 tires in that fuel. Joey Logano, as reported, didn't feel like he had enough turn on that run, and also lost rear security. His service already completed, Marty.
Bubba Wallace led 58 laps in stage 2. Very impressive run for him. So the car was very good, maybe just a little bit too tight towards the end of the run. Did he need one on the very end of the pit road? You see a adjustment for Hamlin, who said the car was just too tight. Now all these teams have pitted at 62, waiting a little bit on fuel. But how about that? The 23 still gets those 4 tires. We'll see if they got enough fuel, though. He wins the race off pit road.
Really good effort by 2311 as we take you back and show you this. This will be much talked about. Larson, Blaney. Pictures tell the story.
I mean, Blaney was all the way in the widest groove you could have ran through 3 and 4 at the time of the contact between him and Larson. Larson started all the way at the bottom and literally chased his car all the way up the racetrack, clipping the left rear corner panel of Ryan Blaney. And looked like he washed up the racetrack and just didn't lift. End up getting into him. Misjudged error by Larson and at the expense of the 12. So that's the cause for the late caution in stage 2. We'll end up getting a restart in here very shortly. And we'll have a couple laps to go yet, stage 2, when they come back. I just get my phone charger. About to lose the chat. Got low battery. There we go. All good. Chat is still engaged. Quite a few cars coming on to pit road. 3 guys stayed out. Keselowski, Austin Dillon, and Justin Haley. Austin Dillon staying out for the stage points, knowing that he is in the playoffs. We'll see if he can hold on. We're only going to have a couple laps to go. Maybe there's a chance he holds on for something. Be on the front row for the restart. I don't think he's going to stay in second with the lack of pace he's had. But even if he ends up 4th, 5th, 6th, it's a solid stage 2 for Austin Dillon, at least in the finishing position, compared to what it was for really most of the race. I think he was 31st in the running order before just staying out right now. First time we've really seen Brad Keselowski in the top 10 all day today as well by staying out. I'm not sure where he was running exactly before the caution flag came out for the Blaney spin. It was right as I was putting my Ryan Blaney t-shirt on, he goes for a spin. Go figure. It's basically my rally cap time, and not the case anymore. Don't forget to vote for who you think is going to win today's race. Chat poll will remain open until the end of stage 2. We have 81 votes as of right now. Kyle Larson leading that voting poll. Tell you, if Blaney gets back to Larson, I don't think he's going to race him very nicely. Problem on the 48 pit stop for Alex Bowman. Did a great job working themselves up to 7th, but this pit crew has been terrible these last 2 weeks. 42nd stop, setting up multiple laps down last week at Darlington under green. And then dropping the jack before the left rear tire was on the left rear of the race car, the new one that is. And a lengthy stop again for Alex Bowman in the 48 for the 2nd consecutive week. It wasn't 40 seconds this time around, but lengthy enough, it drops him out of the top 10. So Austin Dillon actually taking outside of row 2 here. A lot of the cars on the inside of the racetrack are going to have the 4 fresh Goodyears. So Bubba Wallace will be inside of row 1 with 4 fresh tires. Logano just behind him. And the 2 old tires on the outside of Keselowski and Austin Dillon. It's going to be a 1-lap green-white checker. 1 lap to go in the stage. Playoff point on the line for the playoff drivers. Bubba Wallace did not fire out of the restart zone very well. Brad Keselowski's easily got the lead into turn 1. Much fresher tires for the 23, though. The 6 down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to block. That's not going to work out for him. Free pathway for Wallace to clear up off of turn 2. 3 wide between Hamlin, Larson, Bell. Larson sandwiched in between the JGR Toyotas. Still very tight into 3 and 4. Larson tight on the door of the 20 car, center of the corner. He's going to come out with a couple positions because he's going to get by the 3 of Austin Dillon. Chase Elliott Chastain making contact up off turn 4, 4 wide in the back half of the top 10 for the spots they were racing for. While at the front of the field, Bubba Wallace, who leads the most laps in stage 2, will go on to win the 2nd stage. Kind of quietly just leading a bunch of laps as Bubba Wallace today. I feel like they haven't really showed him on the broadcast much, but he has actually led the most laps. 59 laps led, all of them in stage 2. And he wins the 2nd stage along with it. Great pit stop by his pit crew. Great restart. Got to the lead on Keselowski. And Wallace, who came in plus 25 points above the cut line, having another solid day today. 16 stage points for Wallace today. 5 in stage 1 for finishing 6th. And another 10 here in stage 2. And that playoff point will carry over into the next round for him. I was wondering why the chat was kind of slow on my phone this entire time. I didn't realize that I didn't have the Wi-Fi on my phone this entire race. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why it was turned off in the first place. Had a golf scramble earlier this morning into the early afternoon. I got back home about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so before the start of the stream today, about 2:10ish. I'm surprised I cut it that close. It was a very long scramble. We started at 8 o'clock in the morning, had about a half-hour drive back home afterwards, and we got done at like, gosh, it was 1:40. Pretty sure it was 1:40 because I only had 50 minutes. I wasn't in danger of not missing it because I was keeping track of time the whole time. But man, that was a long excursion. 5 hours and 40 minutes. I mean, that's a long scramble. I don't know how many teams were there, but we came in 9 under. Not bad. Ended up 6th, I believe. Didn't pay anything, but it was somewhat respectable. We could have done better, but it wasn't bad. All of us pretty much contributed on the team all the way around at times, so evenly dispersed there. All right, so top 10 for stage 2. Bubba Wallace wins the stage. Second was Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano third, Kyle Larson fourth, and Christopher Bell in fifth. Sixth, Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin 7th, Chase Elliott 8th, Jonathan Nemechek 9th, and Ross Chastain rounding out the top 10. I think the best part about moving this race deep into the season, into the playoffs specifically, is the fact that it's football season. St. Louis doesn't have an NFL team anymore. You know, why not? They're probably going to fill the crowd out quite a bit. Nothing else to probably do that weekend in St. Louis anyway. Hey, let's go to the NASCAR race. And they've darn near sold out, if not sold out, these first 4 Cup Series seasons, 2020 through this season.
Positions to be raced for, and he's scored the 6th most points today. His feedback just free in and off on the corner and both ends, and tight in the middle at both ends. So a little bit of work to do for the 6th. And Alex Bowman is back in as well. Didn't see exactly what they did there, but obviously they are buried her deep in the field. May just be trying to do a top off and do something different, Kim.
You see Chase Briscoe there on the bottom of your screen. He did come down during that 136 lap caution. They had trouble on the left rear during that. Then he took those couple laps at Brady. They felt like they had a loose kill. They were going to bring back down. So it's just been a lot of trouble there for the team all day long. Remember they had an issue earlier on that left rear as well.
They had such a great weekend on pit road last weekend en route to winning.
That's this week.
500. But when you win, that's why you get away with things like that. You've got that cushion.
It's a big match for the national.
Top half dozen or so for the next restart. We'll have Bubba Wallace in the lead, Joey Logano second, Kyle Larson third, Christopher Bell fourth, Denny Hamlin in fifth, and then Chase Elliott in 6th place. Seven cautions, yep. Had 5 yellows in this race last season. 10 and 11 cautions in 2022 and 2023. And the only other Gateway race is a little less than 100 to go. 100 laps exactly in this final stage. By the time we get back to green flag conditions. We'll have a little more than 90 laps remaining. It was really hard to follow the strategy, honestly, up until we had that long green flag run, and now it's pretty straightforward. 2 stops the rest of the race, 1 after the most recent pit stops, which came that late caution from the Blaney spin, and then obviously the stage break. But 1 more pit stop the rest of the way, so if you have the track position right now, you're in the best position possible to try to get the win. Christopher Bell, I think, looked the best in stage 2. With traffic, Kyle Larson's been really fast all day. Stage 1 was pretty much dominated by Larson. He finished second in the stage because of pitting, ran out of laps with another late caution in stage 1 to actually get to the lead by passing Chase Briscoe. Best lap of the race for Wallace and Logano, both on lap 86. Middle of stage 2. Really, their first couple of laps that they actually had track position up at the front of the field and weren't staggered back in the middle of the pack. Most of that first stage, Logano was outside the top 10. Same for Wallace, really. I mean, they were about 11, 12, 14th most of the race, and 1 and 2 for most of stage 2. Kind of track position kind of game. I do think Larson and Bell are noticeably quicker than them, so they'll be tough to hold off now that they're up to 3rd and 4th. I went to scroll down the leaderboard. I was moving the scroller on the right side of the screen. And it was only moving the bottom 2 positions. That was so weird. A little bit of a glitch out. Stage 2 diecast showing for today's live commentary stream. I figured, they're in St. Louis. A guy who is kind of synonymous with the Gateway area, the state of Missouri, although this track is in southern Illinois. But St. Louis in Missouri, obviously. And figured I'd show off a Kenny Wallace diecast. Kenny Wallace, number 55 Square D paint scheme from the 1999 season. This very scheme, he finished runner-up in the 2000 Winston 500. Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s final win. Drafted right in line behind him every step of the way in those closing laps. Really like the Square D paint schemes over the years. Thor was always quick at Talladega, too, because Bobby Hamilton won in this car a couple years later. And a caution-free race in 2002. Andy Petrie Racing. There you go, a little Kenny Wallace diecast for today's Stage 2 diecast showing. We'll end the chat poll here quickly before the restart as well. 84 votes were casted for who you think is going to win today's race. 38% of you say somebody other than Larson, Blaney, or Hamlin will get the win. Larson at 33% definitely looks quick. 17% for Blaney and 10% of those 84 votes taking Hamlin. On to stage number 3 at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Green flag is going to be back in the air. A little contact on the restart between Wallace and Logano. I think Wallace might have spun the tires and made contact with the 22, and that stalled the 22 out more than the 23. Wallace is clear. Down into turns 1 and 2 now because of it. And Kyle Larson's going to get through to second place by getting by Logano also. Hamlin nearly clear on Christopher Bell in the 20 for 4th. A little extra push down the backstretch from Nemechek to hold him out in front of Bell. Hocevar up the racetrack. I think Shane Van Gisbergen might have gotten into him in 3 and 4. And Hocevar barely squeezing his way by Noah Gragson to get back into that single file groove and out of the top lane 3 wide. So now he can go back on attack mode into 1 and 2. Ryan Blaney middle to back of the pack after his spin. Currently, Blaney is just inside the top 20 and riding in the 15th place position. Got some debris on the racetrack outside of turn 2. Piece of sheet metal, maybe. I couldn't tell if that was bare bond or sheet metal. Caution flag's out. And it is for that debris. 8th caution of the race. I don't know whose car that could have potentially come off of. Ty Dillon, maybe? I know he's got some damage. Outside of Ty Dillon, everybody else who had significant contact with the walls out of the race. I don't know who else it would have came off of. Was it one of the... Oh, it might have been one of the signs on the outside of the racetrack. Blew right off. One of the signs that indicate the driver's braking points into the corner that we see on pretty much every racetrack. Never really noticed them much because they never bring out cautions like this. But why does it seem like recent years we've had a lot of signage cautions in NASCAR? I feel like this is kind of an annual basis. At least once a year they have some signage cautions. Just completely take it off the second one. By the way, that looks a lot bigger now that I see them taking off and putting on the new ones. Like, it's bigger than a torso large. While I was laying on the racetrack, it looked very small. So that's the reason for a debris caution. All right. So top 5 on the leaderboard, we've got Bubba Wallace in the lead, Kyle Larson in second, Joey Logano third, Denny Hamlin fourth, and Christopher Bell rounding out the top 5 in fifth. About 11 laps into stage 2. With the debris caution just a few laps into the green flag run following the restart to begin stage 3. Only big noticeable pass up in the top 10, the fact that Larson was able to get by Logano, so he may be on the front row for the restart, unless he takes outside of row 2, which is where he was to get the second, but Logano not having a great restart out of the restart zone after contact with the 23, I think, was the main reason Larson was able to carry that momentum and actually make the pass through 1 and 2 initially like he did. So I'd expect Larson to be on the inside. And Bell ended up moving backwards a spot. Hamlin got by him for 4th. Big as well, just because we know how fast that 20 car is. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC as our Stage 3 coverage continues of the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway. STL Mark, welcome to the stream. Yeah, of course, STL Mark standing for St. Louis Mark. Huge Cardinals fan. There you go. Yeah, you were probably excited for that Kenny Wallace diecast too. Pit road's open.
Cars are on 86 with some help of yellows, Dylan.
This is exactly it, Steve. They'll change 4 tires here and make an air corrector adjustment. But that was the plan. At least you see an audible there for 2 tires. But yeah, if they can get a few more yellows here and maybe sneak one out here, that'd be a big gain considering what has gone down here in the last 30 minutes or so for the 48.
Audible to 2 tires because I saw Priest and Brad and a couple cars come off the roof. They probably want to be the front of this strategy. So if you're in a fuel savings mode, you want to at least be the best car on the fuel situation. We keep talking about what Joey Logano does, manufacturer finishes. The 48 continue to do all they can.
All right, here we go. Less than 90 laps to go. Yeah, it's been a very topsy-turvy race by way of where Alex Bowman's running in the running order. Problem is he hasn't had any stage points to show for it. He was in the top 10 for a brief moment, but slow pit stop at the end of stage 2 cost him any sort of shots to get some stage points. Came in minus 19 points below the cut line. He had that down to minus 14 at one point when he was in 7th. And now it's probably much worse as he's outside the top 20 yet again. Started 29th, which was worst of the 16 playoff drivers entering the day, after finishing 31st, which would have been the second worst finishing driver last weekend at Darlington. Of any of the playoff drivers, only Josh Berry was worse in the finishing order. Actually, SVG was also worse. He finished 33rd, but 14th out of 16, not great. Speaking of SVG, 18th right now. He's back outside the top 30 at one point, so they've done some great work, that 88 car, to get it a little bit better as the race progresses. He actually started in the top 20 and faded early. Now he's back up to where he started. Bubba Wallace at lap 149 had the third fastest lap of the race, his personal fastest lap of the race, a 32.981. Denny Hamlin still has the fastest lap of the race overall with a 32.944. Remember, there is a bonus point awarded to the fastest lap of the race. So, looking at the points now, SVG minus 20 to Chase Elliott. Elliott in 8th, SVG again in, see what that would be, what did I say, 18th? Yeah, 18th. Bowman is minus 49 after just hitting pit road again. And he is 28th.
And still a lot of puzzles pieces to put together.
Interview with Bubba Wallace's crew chief.
He told me you didn't get a pull on the last stop, so what's the strategy plan from here?
Yeah, everything is on schedule for the fuel that they wanted to play out, so we're fine for another stop to the end of the race, but just got to execute everything just right.
But Reed, they have track position. Can they hang on to it? Bubba Wallace with such an impressive day here in St. Louis.
Kind of a similar racetrack by way of hard to pass that Indianapolis was, and the same set of drivers up at the front of the field competing for the win. This front row, Wallace and Larson, just like it was at Indy back in July. So Wallace on the outside of row number 1, Joey Logano is actually going to be on the inside again. So surprisingly, Larson not going to be on the front row. He actually took outside of row 2. Let's talk about Chase Elliott plus 20. It's actually plus 20 for Logano, Cindric, and Elliott. Logano up there on the front row. You never know. Maybe he gets a win and locks himself into the next round. And I don't think plus 20 is going to be great for him. Not a great restart, though, for Bubba Wallace inside or outside of row 1, excuse me. Spun the tires, front 4 cars on the inside, all getting by the 23, including Joey Logano quickly getting to the lead, only for Denny Hamlin to cross him over to the inside off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway, it's Hamlin down low and Joey Logano up high. Chase Elliott slipping into 3rd, and he's in the outer line. Behind Logano, SVG was very sideways. Almost saved it, and around he goes as he backs it against the wall in 3 and 4 slightly. I don't think he's going to have much damage to that left rear of his race car. But the caution flag is out as he was sitting backwards in turns 3 and 4. Back-to-back-to-back yellows here early in stage 3. 9 cautions total on the race to this point, with just over 80 laps to go. Well, I was just talking about him recovering back to about where he started, only for a spin to take place on the restart. There were cars all over the place. Byron actually got up out of the groove. A couple rows of cars in that outer lane in front of him. That whole outside line just got bottlenecked after the 23 did not go on that restart. He kind of struggled. Excuse me, I don't know what that was. I about lost my voice mid-sentence. Bubba Wallace struggled on the restart before that, kind of bounced off the 22 when he spun the tires, and ended up actually working out for him. That time, 22 stayed off of him, and that 23 car went nowhere but backwards as everybody else was going forward. Wall's going to lead several drivers onto pit road. Might be around the edge of the pit window if we continuously get caution, so that could be the reason for pitting. 23, the 5, the 2, the 24, a lot of the guys that were in the outside lane behind Wallace onto pit road with him.
Here, Kim.
Yeah, including Austin Cindric. He really said the car is good. I just need track position. The call sounds like it will be 2 tires. He has one of the best fuelers on pit road. Andrew Lackey will have to watch as he engages there, and then it continues to fuel that thing as they take off. Austin Cindric in his box right now.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace has had really no complaints about the car. So Charles tonight going with fuel only here for Bubba Wallace. Again, 82 to go. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson is going to go 2 tires. Cliff Daniels with that call here. And you see also SVG coming down pit road. 82 laps would be a stretch to make it to the end, but they're going to try and make it happen.
Think about Bowman, who pitted a stop ago. This kind of cycles him forward. Good break for the 48.
At some point here in stage 3, I'd expect that we're going to get a longer green flag run going. Denny Hamlin in the 11 is going to be out in front of the field, taking the race lead away from Joey Logano at the time of the incident taking place behind them after restarting on the inside of row 2. He was in 4th on the last caution for the debris. And then this caution obviously cycled out to the front. So comes out the better end of everything there. Started on the front row. So while he started on the pole for today's race, I just want to read to you guys this crazy stretch of races we have had this season. And I've mentioned it on the channel before, but I haven't gone into much depth with this stat line. But we have had a lot of drivers win races starting from the front row, and I think that is a huge factor to obviously this next-gen car and how much track position really does matter on a week-to-week basis. It's just so hard to pass with all these cars being so equal to one another. So I'm going to go week by week in reverse order. From last weekend on to where we're at right now. So last weekend in the Southern 500, Chase Briscoe starts second, wins the race. So there's one race, front row starting position. Now obviously Daytona, there's a lot of movement, super speedway racing, a lot of passing going on, but the pole sitter Ryan Blaney still won the race. So that's 2 weeks in a row. The race before that, Shane Van Gisbergen, qualifies on the front row, and he wins at Watkins Glen in dominating fashion. Sorry, that was 2 weeks before that. Austin Dillon started 11th at Richmond, so that was the one outlier. So 3 of the last 4 races, at least, with front row starting positions to that point. The week before that at Iowa, William Byron started second, won. Not to mention the pole sitter, Chase Briscoe, finished in second. So they had 1 and 2 for that race. The race before that at the Brickyard, Bubba Wallace started second, won the race. That's 5 out of 6. The race before that, Denny Hamlin at Dover started 13th. The race before that would have been SVG starting from the pole at Sonoma. And he was also on the pole at Chicago. Chase Elliott with a win at Atlanta. Drafting style racetrack, so maybe not as surprising. Somebody outside of the front row wins that race. Chase Briscoe started 6th, was able to win at Pocono. I actually thought he started on the front row for that one. And then SVG at Mexico City was on the pole. Ended up winning. So 7 of the last 9 races have been won by drivers starting on the front row. The guys who started on the front row in the race, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. Larson has had legitimately one of the quicker cars. Now he's first of the running order that just hit pit road. And Denny Hamlin is the outright race leader for the first time since very early in this race. We'll see how it works out for the both of them. 79 laps to go this time by. For Hamlin, green flag back in the air. Logano had a decent launch on the inside lane, but Denny Hamlin just outright beat him. Almost 4 wide through the center of turns 1 and 2, just outside the top 10. Things getting tight. Chastain almost got squeezed against the fence by Ty Gibbs in the 54. Actually, it might have been a different car. It wasn't Gibbs. Either that or Chastain lost a ton of spots down the back straightaway because now he's quite a ways behind where the 54 is. I think I just had the wrong car initially. Chase Elliott zigging and zagging, trying to find his way to the outside of the 42 of John Nemechek through 1 and 2. Not going to be able to hang on the right rear corner panel by the exit to help him into 3 and 4. Elliott remains in 4th. Christopher Bell making a pass on Chris Buescher for 5th the last lap. Are still in the process of making that pass on the inside of him. Ty Gibbs not going to waste any time. Goes 3 wide underneath both the 20 and the 17. Shallow entry for Gibbs, but a great corner, and he clears them both. Great job by Ty Gibbs. That was an impressive move. Might be, I was going to say, I thought Bell was going to try to cross both of them back over. I was going to say an even more impressive move if Bell could pull that off. That didn't happen. Gibbs pulls the 17, and Ty Gibbs for the first time today is up inside the top 5, where we haven't seen him much up there for the season. John Nemechek, non-playoff driver who finished top 5 last weekend at Darlington, a 4th place run in 3rd this week. His teammate Eric Jones was a part of the Goodyear tire test earlier this season at Gateway. Haven't seen Eric Jones in the top 10 really at all today, but Nemechek slipping up here late. Gibbs is rolling. That last time by, Ty Gibbs was the fastest car on the racetrack with a 33.069. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been the fastest lap of the race overall. Looking back on the lap times. No, we had some 32s. We had a couple of 32.9s today. But still, fastest lap of those that are in the top 5 currently is that 54 car. Can he sustain it for a long green flag run if we do get one of those on this current stint? Gibbs looking for another pass underneath John Hunter Nemechek. One Toyota working around another. Into turns 3 and 4. Gibbs is going to be clear. And sorry, that was turns 1 and 2, by the way. Wrong end of the speedway. Either way, Gibbs is clear. And again, up to 4th place. So up the most recent restart, we've got Denny Hamlin in the lead, Joey Logano in 2nd, Chase Elliott 3rd, Ty Gibbs is 4th now. 5th is John Hunter Nemechek, Christopher Bell in 6th, Ryan Blaney 7th, Chris Buescher 8th, Kyle Busch 9th, and Chase Briscoe rounds out the top 10. Everybody that is still on the racetrack at the front of the field will have to pit before the end of the race. And as far as the drivers who just topped off on fuel, they're probably going to be short unless we see quite a few cautions. Which is probably the strategy they were playing with the consecutive yellows that we did have. And now we're a few laps into this green flag run, and the longer we go, the less and less likely we are to see a caution flag come out, as the field will space out some. Hamlin and Logano. A rivalry of yesteryear. We haven't seen these two up at the front of the field, it seems like, in the same race very often. over the last couple of seasons. Despite the fact Logano won 5 races last year, we really didn't see him battle in the races with the 11. Hamlin winning a few times this season and last season. Never in the same races it seemed like Logano was competitive. Both of them out in front here at this point in the race. Hamlin is probably overall paced better than Logano, but Logano's in second now and still within striking distance. Christopher Bell trying to boot John-Hunter Nemechek out of the top 5. Be a valiant effort for that 42 team if they get back-to-back top 5 runs. Ryan Blaney on his quick recovery just passed Chris Buescher for 7th on the racetrack. About a half a second off the battle between the 20 and the 42 in front of him. Chase Briscoe also making a pass within the last lap or two on Kyle Busch for 9th. Inside the top 10. I don't know what they're showing on the replay right now. Showing the 5 car. With everything muted, I have no idea what that was all about. Larson back in 22nd after just coming to pit road not that long ago. There had to have been a couple restarts ago, I'd assume. Going to commercial, looks like on USA Network for the time being. 68 laps left here at Gateway. Intervals for those top 10 positions then. Again, Hamlin out in front, 4/10 ahead of Logano in second, 6/10 to Chase Elliott in third, 1.4 seconds to Ty Gibbs in fourth, 1.7 to Christopher Bell in fifth, who did complete the pass on John-Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek is in sixth, though, 2.3 seconds back. Ryan Blaney in 7, 2.6, 3.5 to Chris Buescher at 8th, 3.9 to Chase Briscoe in 9th, and 5 seconds off the lead, Kyle Busch in 10th as he tries to look for back-to-back top 10s as well. Take another break. You're listening live. KRC coverage continues of the Enjoy Illinois 300. Obviously, quite a bit of racing still to go. So Bell, who looked pretty strong earlier in the race, getting by Ty Gibbs in the 54 car for fourth after it looked like Gibbs was starting to set a little bit of a faster pace than the cars that were ahead of him. And still ahead of him. Gibbs can't sustain that as we get more than 5 to 10 laps into the run. He did have the fastest 5-lap average in practice yesterday was Gibbs. But then the longer the run went, the more he lacked in speed. Still our longest green flag run of the race, right around 40-something laps. If we went green to the end, this would be almost twice the length of the longest green flag run prior. So mathematically, it's not looking as likely that that would happen. Still, to get to this point, only 2 hours and 20 minutes or so of this race has gone by. This is one of the shorter race lengths of the season. Should get done in under 3 hours still, even if we were to see a couple more cautions. 64 laps to go at this point. Little over a minute to complete 2 whole laps at the track. Distance between Hamlin and Logano has increased for Hamlin's side of things, just by a couple tenths though. Chase Elliott, who was about 7 tenths off of the lead going into the last commercial break, is now about 1.3 back, and Christopher Bell in the 20 is closing in on him. Gap between Cindric and Bowman, 15 points right now. Those are the first drivers in and the first driver out. Bowman, of course, out, Cindric in. based off of where they're running right now. 1 point per position in the finishing order dictates those standings. And obviously, if you win the race, you're locked in to the next round. Denny Hamlin is currently the leader. Bubba Walls, William Byron side by side, though that battle is for 17th on the racetrack. Walls is one of the first of those that have already hit pit road. Same, I think, for the 24. He also came down at the same time. They're both ahead of Larson. I didn't even realize they cycled in front of him through the restart, at least. So this is a battle for the first on the strategy of those that pitted during the most recent yellow. The 23 and the 24. If they were to have enough fuel to the end, that could be the race for the win. Bubba Walls holds clear on the 24 for now. And Joey Logano starting to catch a second wind as he runs down Denny Hamlin, rather, for the lead.
In turn 3, Logano able to roll the middle and the bottom of lower line just a little bit better, able to make up ground on Hamlin.
Spoke to Chris Gale, the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, yesterday, and he said he was really proud of Denny and the team, the way that they came back. They started on the pole last week, if you remember, in Darlington, but then they had that pit road hiccup, and it sent Denny way back, and then he just kept his cool and remained resilient and just kept digging all race long for a top 10 result. And he said that's the kind of stuff that you can build a championship run on in the playoffs. And so far today, Hamlin has led 36 laps, and again, was on the pole position.
Logano is better in 1 and 2. But right there in 3 and 4, Hamlin's able to carry a little bit better speed. If you wonder how in the world can one in the racetrack different than the other, well, check this out. Watch Joey Logano. This is turn 1. Heavy braking, very tight radius. This corner is much tighter radius than 3 and 4. Watch the difference as he goes into turn 3. It's a little bit of an uphill run into turn 3, and now this corner is wider. Actually, isn't as sharp of a radius. So your car can be better in 1 and 2 and worse in 3 and 4, or vice versa.
Let's talk more about Logano. I think Dylan Welsh. And I think this is the best the 22 has been all day. Joey came on the radio and just said it feels like he had more turn in the center on this run than he's had previously. Something else that's on their radar too. We went back green. Joey said, I'm going to go as hard as I can here. If we get the lead, just to try to give us as much of a gap as we can on the green flag pit stops. So even if he doesn't get the lead, obviously wants to keep it as close as he can. As fine as the margins are here, it could just come down to less than a second or so on the racetrack, based on how close you get into the pits.
I love to watch Logano looking back at the driver just going to work. I think Hamlin's struggling just a little bit. Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell kind of running the front 2 down.
Chase Elliott still sits in a really solid third, and he's not too far adrift of these two. Meanwhile, we work our way back down the order into 11th, and that's where we find the Ally Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports of Alex Bowman and Dylan. He keeps digging. He is not giving up.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. Made it on lap 152 to take advantage of the fresher tires that he's got compared to some of the others around him. So he's driven to 11. I just climbed up on the box and asked Blake Harris, are you guys done pitting? And he gave me that famous kind of shrug and said, I want to be, but it's going to be really close and we probably need some yellow. So even if they don't win this race, I think it's still make the strategy turn into a good game. I think it's a win today for the 48 Tim.
running in the 31st spot. They stopped on lap 158, trying to keep positions on that restart now in fuel saving on the way. Tyler said, I'm so tight. I don't know what's wrong. He said, I cannot get into the corner. He said, the front brakes are locking up. I have no rear brakes. We've not been this bad all day long. They told him, fuel save. Do not use third gear is what those guys said.
Tyler Reddick right now, he is way off pace. 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, even if they make it off fuel, I think these guys could hit, run it back down at the pace he's running.
Yeah. He came in so nice on points after last weekend's runner-up position. He came in 4th on playoff points. Right now, Tyler Reddick would be down in 11th. Look at that, bottom right and bottom left of your screen.
And Joey Logano is so much better than Hamlin. Down here at 1 and 2.
Just want to go back real quick to what Dylan said about Alex Bowman and where he's hanging in there, has gained so many playoff points. We'll see how it's going to work out for him.
All right, we'll go through the full field running order with 52 laps to go here at Gateway. Denny Hamlin leads, Joey Logano in second, Chase Elliott third, Christopher Bell fourth, and Ty Gibbs in fifth. Sixth place, John Hunter Nemechek, Ryan Blaney in seventh, eighth for Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher ninth, and Kyle Busch in 10th. Alex Bowman 11th, Brad Keselowski 12th, Noah Gragson 13th, Ross Chastain 14th, and Michael McDowell 15th. 16th for Riley Herbst, Bubba Wallace 17th, 18th for William Byron, Kyle Larson 19th, and Zane Smith is 20th. 21st, Austin Cindric, AJ Allmendinger 22nd, Todd Gillen 23rd, 24th for Carson Hocevar, Ryan Preece 25th, Eric Jones 26th, Cole Custer 27th, Austin Dillon 28th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 29th, Justin Haley in 30th, 31st, Tyler Reddick, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 32nd, Ty Dillon 33rd, Cody Ware 34th, Daniel Suarez 35th, Josh Berry 36th. 34 cars on the lead lap. Only two not, or the two out of the race of Suarez and Berry. Halfway through the final stage already. 50 laps to go in the race. Most of the field, if not everybody, will have to pit one more time before the end. Alex Bowman driving his way up to 11th on slightly fresher tires. That's a good comeback from where he was at one point in this race. That last restart was where he was in the running order. I mean, he was, what, 38, 39 points below the cut line? Guess it would have been 2 restarts ago now, and he's up to 11th. He's 18 points below the cut line, so a lot more manageable going into Bristol to at least give him more of a fighting shot without having to outright win the race to get into the next round. Of course, Bowman has not won a race this season, so to say that, that's putting a lot of pressure on that 48 team. Pit crew has not been great in these first 2 races, but the driver of the 48 carrying them here today. Good pit strategy calls at times for Blake Harris to also help aid his driver and get him as much track position as he can by way of the pit calls. Top 4 cars all within about 1.6 seconds of the lead. Wallace and Byron still battling in traffic. And this time the 24 car will get by the 23. Again, they are the first on those that had pitted during the most recent yellow.
Let's see if this drives any interest from the leaders to come to pit road. We think they can run a little past 200, somewhere between 200 and 210 on fuel. There's a lot to be decided in 47 laps, Dip. This is really going to shake everything up, this green flag cycle. And let's not forget the access road on and off. We've seen mistakes there before.
Here comes Chase Briscoe.
Pits from inside the top 10. He can risk it. He can gamble. Put the new tires on early. See if you can make some time up. Cycle to the front.
Kim Coon standing by. Take it away, Kimmy.
And they've had trouble all day with their even what they do here. Chase running still tying James up. Right side tires only. James didn't want to free him up though because here they were in traffic. So right side tires only. Chase Briscoe.
There you go, Kim. You got trouble with the left rear. Just don't change it. Just don't take it off. Don't have a risk of a long pit stop. I thought they needed more fuel than that. That tells me that all of these guys are only going to need a splash. I wonder who else is going to only take right side tires. That was probably 4 or 5 seconds faster than a 4-tire pit stop. Plus, coming early, that's going to cycle to 19 pretty far forward.
I'm gonna tell you something. Denny Hamlin, the last 2 laps, he just took off and ran his best laps in a while, and now he hits pit road.
Yeah, I think Hamlin was saving gas, perhaps. Let's see what he does. He hustles around the access road, gets on the brakes right there, gets down to pit road speed. Let's see what the 11 does. Let's see if they're another 2-tire choice, or if they're going to take 4 tires, and how much longer the 22 runs on the racetrack. The 11 has to come down all the way, the pole sitter all the way down in front of Marty in pit stall 1.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin said I'm way too free, and he was really having a hard time holding Joey Logano behind him, but was able to do it. The interesting thing here is that they were the leader when they came to pit road. So we'll see where he cycles out to this green flag cycle, but they're going to go 4 tires. They're going to go on the jack, so they're not going to wait on fuel, Dylan, and we'll see what happens at green flag road.
Joey Logano does the lap uppercut here. We'll see how this works out for them. As we said, Joey liked his car on this run, so they had nice inner turn. They'll change 4 tires, fill it full of fuel, make an air pressure adjustment. We'll watch and see where the 22 blends in relation to the 11.
What a juxtaposition. Denny was all the way at the other end of pit road. Joey all the way at the beginning of pit road.
The 19 of Chase Briscoe, you see him cycle in front of the 11 of Denny Hamlin on 2 tires. I don't know if they'll be able to hold off the 4 tires, but let's see where that 22 cycles. Up on the left-hand side, there comes 19 and the 11. The 22's got to gas up, run around the intersection, otherwise work hard. It's a shorter distance. I don't know how this is going to blend. Surely the racetrack is faster than the access road, but it's going to be close.
Outside city, clear up.
Outstanding. Now remember, they're a lap down, so these cars really want to.
Yeah, they need this to cycle all the way through. That is for sure. Chase Elliott taking his first lead of the race as of right now. And fresher tires not that far behind him to that of the 2 cars that were just on pit road, the 11 and the 22. Christopher Bell also trying to battle the 9 for the race lead, while the drivers on fresher tires of Briscoe, Hamlin, and Logano are going to try to get their laps back as soon as possible in case of a caution. 40 laps to go this time by. In the second race of the round of 16 of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Briscoe and Hamlin get by Bell through turns 3 and 4. You're going to have a great opportunity to get by the 9 of Chase Elliott this time by. Briscoe hard on the entry into the corner. Briscoe was in 11th place where he ended up hitting pit road. Ross Chastain on his way into the pits from the top 10.
The 9's trying to get over. The 9's trying to pit right here. He's trying to find his way to the left of the 11. There he goes. He kind of unthreaded himself and jumped to pit road. This will be a very interesting blend. What does the 9 do, and where does he rejoin the racetrack? Kim, the 1 of Chastain in.
Yeah, one of Chastain still too tight center. Entering the corner, he said too loose on building 4 more Goodyear tires. They'll pack a little snuff of fuel to make it to the end.
See, Christopher Bell there at the top of the screen as well. Didn't say much about his race car, but they will change 4 tires on the 20. You see them go around here to the left side. Made a perfect stop here. Bell's been one of the cars to beat for sure, Kim.
Chase Elliott on pit road. We called him coming to that access. Alan Gunson said, but now he's able to get down there. Chase just saying he can use a little bit better front grip.
Ryan beats the 20 off of pit road. This should be a clear advantage for the 11 and the 19. Yeah, there you go. Clear advantage because, Jeff, as you were saying, they ran longer. Now they have a couple lap pressure tires. I don't know if that's enough to run it back down.
Teammate on teammate here. Chase Briscoe with Denny Hamlin in pursuit. Hamlin tries that outside line, and then Briscoe just eases up there. And Logano's watching this unfold in front of him. Denny hugs that low line.
Just want to get him quickly. The longer you run behind him, the harder you have to push, the harder it is on your tires. We're trying to make this pass as quickly as you can.
Now keep in mind, as far as the positions run, this is down in 24th and 25th because of the pit cycle. But this could ultimately be for the race win.
So many cars are going to.
Hamlin to the inside of Chase Briscoe into turns 3 and 4. He got underneath him, but in the middle of the corner the last time. This time, he'll probably stay alongside him up off the exit of turn 4. Not clear. 19 still there. Drag race down to turn 1. 19 has the advantage for now. The 11 holds down low again into turns 1 and 2. Tighter corner of the racetrack. And still side by side.
This is the race for the lead of Pack C, which is the cars we know can make it on fuel.
Teammate on teammate. Hamlin on the inside. Briscoe up high.
Look at these two battling. Logano's loving it.
You know how we were saying earlier, this race has just been so emblematic of doesn't matter what happens, just keep going. You're always in with a shot. What about the pit road issues the 19s had?
They got to clean those up. I mean, obviously a good job with some strategy to get back in the track position that they lost, but you can't keep having those problems and get by with it.
Meanwhile, Ryan Blaney is out in front at the moment, but he will need to come to pit road. He last pitted on lap 136.
Oh, Hamlin's getting aggressive, trying to get to the car of Cody Ware. That's what he was trying to do.
And overdrove it trying to doing so. And Chase Briscoe now clear of Denny Hamlin once again. He's going to get by the lap car of Cody Ware. Hamlin catches Ware up off the exit of turn 2. Joey Logano closing the gap on the 11 and the 19.
In theory, for position, if these cars can make the last 34 laps. I mean, obviously they're faster, but every car they catch, it is a question if they're pitting or not. No one's showing their hands dip. No one's laying their poker hands down, telling you what they're going to do. As now we see Bowman, I believe, comes to pit road. Blaney and Bowman. So Bowman in the 48 just knows he can't make it, so he wants to get pressure tires on it right away. Dylan.
And an opportunity here to do a little bit of a shorter bit with some of the other guys. They only need to make it 33 laps here. From the right side, it's on Alex in the balance. Migrated 3 there. 6 laps at fuel, Marty.
Jonathan Hassler trying to stretch it as far as he could with Ryan Blaney. They pit with 33 to go. He was told, do not slide the tires. So right side tires for Blaney, left side tires going on as well. So with 33 to go, Blaney pitting here.
Trouble.
Car in the wall lead.
Ty Dillon in the wall for the second time today. He was spun by his brother earlier. Bring it to the bottom. Caution is out.
Jeez.
Oh, a caution in the middle of the cycle. We're going to have to take a minute, just get it all untangled to see who's where and who needs what. Let's see what happens to the 10.
So he's ahead of Chase Elliott there. Fourth car and shot. Here he is.
Man.
Something happens on the front right.
Brake issue.
Yep.
One rotor or something.
Yeah, he shouldn't be on the brakes there, but something definitely fails. You see the fire brake or wheel bearing, or, I mean, it looks like brakes because he's not slowing down at all. So definitely a rotor, I would assume. This is a very awkward racetrack. You lose a lot of brakes as they fool dramatically. They heat cycle, they crack. You've seen them explode before. Very fortunate to happen there and not at the end of the straightaway for Ty Dillon. Could have been a really massive impact. Yeah, there you go. You see that the caliper is broken loose, dragging in the wheel. So now the question is, for me, it's very simple. You have Keselowski, McDowell, Byron, Larson, Wallace, the guys at the front. Tires have mattered today. With 31 to go, I almost think you need to pit for tires even if you can make it on fuel. There you go. There's some conversation there. I think before we worry about the rundown, we have to see who decides to pit or not. So that's going to be kind of the reset of the field. Pit road, I think, closed this time by.
Like if I do pit, it is.
So Brad's saying if we do come, just you need to put 4 on me because I'm going to have to make something happen.
With that brake rotor explosion on that 10 car, NASCAR's got to get on the front straightaway and look for any debris. There's such small pieces that I always get nervous when that happens, Steve. It's very easy to get a puncture from those parts. See them looking for them, but when it explodes, it's lots of little parts. And before they can get there, it's easy to run over one of those pieces and puncture your tire.
All right, let's take a look at our Toyota virtual car and talk exactly what happens to the brakes at a track like St. Louis. What happens is
You can run. You have to run the same caliper as everybody, but you can run a different brake pad. The green part you see right there. And over time, the question is how much you cool. This place, you use the brakes like a short track, but the air going in the ducts is just exorbitant because the high top speed. So you add some tape, so you A, have an aero advantage, and B, you don't want to get shaped by overcooling them. Then what happens is if you get a car that's ill handling or in traffic and you just use too much brake, over time they get hot and hot and hot. And then finally, if you can believe this, that rotor grows in diameter, it squeezes itself, and this centrifugal force makes it grow. It contacts the caliper, and an explosion happens. And that's what happened. You see here the decision here. Keselowski stays out. Some others pit, split decision at the field. Brad's going to try to stretch the tank and the tires.
So who have we got in there? Wallace is in there as far as front runners are concerned. Oh, Kensett Road. Last time by. Dylan Walsh is standing by.
And here's William Byron. He will peel off from the top left of the screen. Pretty happy with his balance. Just ask for some help with his center pivot. They'll change 4 tires here, make a chassis adjustment to help that. And Rudy Bugle told him, let's go to work, Kim.
Issues with the balance of the car for Austin Cindric. Big debate between he and Richie Brian Wilson. Should they come? Should they stay out? They could have made it on fuel, but they ultimately thought that they needed tires or else they would be at a detriment party.
These guys all really close on fuel, Kim, so they decided to come down pit road. Bubba Wallace, Charles tonight making that call. And these drivers also won't be able to go on the offense with 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Larson was close on fuel. Now he's certainly guaranteed and has the fresh tires as well.
Less than 30 laps to run. We're under caution because of this incident. But Ty Dillon.
It was right in front of Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell, who were starting to run down the 11 and the 19 after a pretty intense battle between those two up towards the front of the field. To wait to see how this running order is going to shake up. Following pit stops, less than 30 laps to go in the restart. Our 10th caution of the race today. I haven't seen double-digit caution counts in the NASCAR Cup Series much this season. I believe the last race we had this many yellows or more was at Iowa, where we had 12 a little over a month ago. Not an abnormality, especially with these next-gen cars, what we've seen at Gateway in the first few years here, where there are brake issues. Couple of right fronts breaking down on cars in the Xfinity race yesterday for Jordan Anderson Racing. Jordan Anderson himself taking a hard hit early, as well as Jeb Burton later in stage 3. Just over 70 people in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We are just over 50 likes on the stream. Fresh on my page now. We're at 54 likes. So be sure to run that up. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. I am going to give us our final break. And then we'll be here for the finish. You're listening live on KRC. Brad Keselowski trying to have some sort of a shining moment for RFK Racing this season. As an organization, they have not won a race. All 3 cars missing the playoffs. Brad leads late. After staying out of the pits, he's on old tires and trying to stretch it on fuel. Just a desperation measure. At one lap shootout, he stayed out at the end of stage 2. Restarted second, finished second. Or actually, restarted in the lead, finished second. He doesn't have as old of tires here, but they're still older than everybody else behind him. And he hasn't had anywhere near the pace of the guys that are going to be behind him on the restart as well. He's the only one that stayed out, which is also going to be at a disadvantage for him. Top 12 on the next restart will have Brad Keselowski out in front, Denny Hamlin in second, Chase Briscoe third, Joey Logano fourth, Chase Elliott fifth. Then Christopher Bell in 6th, Chris Buescher 7th, Ty Gibbs 8th, Jonathan Nemechek 9th, Kyle Busch in 10th, SVG is not in 11th. It's actually Ryan Blaney in 11th, and then Austin Dillon in 12th. I don't know why I was showing SVG in 11th there for a second. I wonder if he was 11th and then might have sped on pit road or something, because now he's last on the lead lap in 29th. That could be. Might have had a pit road penalty. which is very costly if he did actually get up to 11th place again after a spin earlier.
Welcome back, folks. Lee Diffie, Jeff Burton, Stiglitz Art with you on an enjoyable day here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Here are the points, the updated playoff points as they run, with so much still to transpire.
I think that's the key. As wild as today has been, still 27 to go, and that means we're going to have a late race restart. We've seen tons of aggression, tons of different strategies in play right now. Keselowski, he pitted all the way on lap 152, leading this race. Hamilton 11th, pitted on 196. Briscoe 194, but he's on 2 tires.
Well, you were asking why was Elliott Bell running long? Well, it was for this situation right here, right? They have like 4 or 5 lap fresher tires than Hamlin and Briscoe.
Updates from Pit Road. Let's start with you, Kev, talking about Chase Elliott.
Yeah, how about the 9 car? Currently in the 5th position. We had questions on what their day was going to look like after he qualified 19th, and they have made the most of it. In fact, broke into the top 10 in the first stage right now, trying to possibly steal a win here. Their pit cycle before that caution. They are the first driver with the freshest tires of the drivers that stayed out and did not pit on lap 211, Dylan.
Joey Logano said before the race, a good goal for them today is double digits over the cut line. That would be at minimum a gain of 13 for them. They started -3 to the cut line. They're +16 right now. It's mission accomplished so far for the 22 with a win in sight, Marty.
Dylan, who might be in the best position? How about Denny Hamlin? Started on the pole, sitting in second, and he has 4 fresh tires. Chris Gale.
Not the best position, I think, for this restart is Chase Elliott. Elliott's outside of row 3. The 2 cars in front of him, Keselowski, stayed out of the pits entirely, and Chase Briscoe, who has the old left side tires because he took rights only during the green flag stops. We'll see how it works out for him and how those inside row cars will go in the launch. Green flag back in the air. Keselowski in the old tires gets a good push from Briscoe. Hamlin underneath the 6 as they enter into turn 1. Briscoe working to the outside of Brad Keselowski, going to split around him, 3 wide for the lead. Denny Hamlin, though, down low, should take the advantage and clear on Briscoe off turn 2. Briscoe still trying to go to work on the 6 car. Had to take the longest way around the racetrack while Hamlin was down low on the bottom, and the shortest way around was just the way to go there for Denny. Briscoe cleared for second off turn 2. Elliott is in 4th. And now we'll look to try to make quick work of Keselowski for 3rd. Great restart for Ryan Blaney, going from 11th to 8th. A recovery after a spin earlier. Up to 7th, getting by Nemechek through 1 and 2, and he might get by Buescher as well. He's side by side with him, actually 3 wide with the 42, 17, and 12. Blaney trying to get up to 6th place if he can get by both of them. Elliott under Brad Keselowski, but not clear off turn 4. That's going to hold Elliott up for at least another straightaway. Chase side draft in the 6. Dive bombs on the inside lane. Slides up the racetrack, hoping to clear Brad in the middle of the corner, and does. Elliott up to 3rd. 1 car bouncing off the wall off turn 2 further back. Christopher Bell keeps it going in the right direction. Loses a lot of momentum, though. Blaney running down his teammate Joey Logano. Clean air in the middle groove. Great corner exit. 3 wide. Contact up high above him. Logano and Keselowski. Bigger opening for Blaney to clear the 22. He should have the 6 taken care of in 1 and 2. And Ryan Blaney with a rocket ship down the stretch here. Up 7 spots in the first 4 laps after the restart. From 26 to go in 11th with 22 to go up to 4th. Just a second and a half off the lead. After a spin earlier from 4th place after contact with Kyle Larson. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson in the 5 car running outside of the top 10 for this late restart. Larson back at 18th. '17th now for Larson. Bell and Gibbs side by side again. This time it's for 11th. Bell got against the wall off turn 2 a couple laps ago. He lost quite a few spots. We're able to get the momentum back up, so he's looking to get one of those spots back right now. It's really kind of surprising. You think about it. The 3 cars who were probably the best last season in this race, the 20, then the 12, then the 2, in my opinion, by way of race speed. We haven't really seen any of them up towards the front. Cindric's been nowhere near the top 10 pretty much the whole race. Christopher Bell's been back half of the top 10, most of it at times in the top 5. And Blaney was as high as 4th earlier. But really not any better than that up to this point. He's showing a little bit more pace with 20 to go. But none of those 3, I believe, have led any laps. Maybe Bell. I'm going to look back at this just to clarify. Bell has not led. Yeah, so neither one of those 3 cars have led laps in this year's race. Not as hot, obviously, so maybe slightly different track conditions with the cooler mid-70-degree temperatures versus the low 90s, where we've usually seen Gateway back in June the last couple of years. Briscoe to the inside of a second margin back of Denny Hamlin, but remember, Briscoe only took right side tires during the last stop. Hamlin's getting away with it for right now, but remember, he has kind of lacked on the long run speed in that 11 car. I don't think he's going to be lacking to the 19. And Chase Elliott, one of the fastest long run cars in practice, same for Ryan Blaney yesterday afternoon. And now that they're up to 3rd and 4th with track position, we'll probably have to look out for the 9 and the 12. The closer we get to the finish. The good news is for Hamlin, this long run is only technically 26 laps. It's not really a long run. The 9 and the 12 did pit a little bit after him, so they have slightly fresher tires. They are struggling to get by that 19 car for second place, and the longer Briscoe can hold them up, the more of a chance his teammate can get the win. And we could have 2 JGR cars winning the first 2 races of the round of 16. Cindric bleeding positions here down the stretch. He's only 8 points above the cut line on Austin Dillon in the 3. Cindric trying to get another point for the finishing position. He just got by Kyle Busch, but now Tyler Reddick is underneath him off turn 4. Although couldn't hang with him down the front stretch and into 1 and 2. $16 laps to go. Blaney with a huge run on the high side off turn 4. Great round through the corner. Elliott took the bottom. Blaney not enough speed to hang to the inside of Elliott on corner entry, but a good drive through the center, and he hangs with the 9 by exit, door to door now for 3rd. Blaney side drafts the left rear corner panel of Elliott for that 3rd spot, and now he'll sail it off on the inside into 3 and 4. Kind of clipped the curbing on entry. Elliott all the way near the outside. Blaney is going to try to slide up. Not clear. And that might cost him a chance at 3rd place. He'll hang to the inside of the 9, but I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold on for. 12 on the curbing again on the bottom of the track through 1 and 2. Elliott a bit loose off the corner exit, but wins the race back to the throttle. And Chase Elliott does hold on for 3rd place. Blaney was so close to clearing for 3rd out of turn 4. And that hiccup, that's a couple extra laps. It's probably going to cost him to try to run down the 2 cars in front of him, because he's going to have to take more time just to get by the 9 car for 3rd. He's 2 seconds off the race lead as well, as having to pass a couple cars just to get up to the front. I think he's going to have a hard time trying to pass Elliott to the end of the race, let alone the fact of catching the top 2 in front of him. He might spend the last 13 laps of this thing trying to get by the 9 car and still might not be able to pass him. Denny Hamlin trying to go for his 5th win of the season, breaking the tie with SVG for the most on the year. After starting on the pole, if he wins this race, that will be 8 of the last 9 races won by somebody starting on the front row. 8 of the last 10, excuse me. 8 of the last 10 races. Elliott goes to the bottom of the racetrack through 1 and 2 this time. Blaney rounded the top. Should have a little bit more momentum this time. Or not. Because Chase was able to hold on through 3 and 4. 10 laps to go into turns 1 and 2 this go around. It looks like the 9's got about a 3-car length advantage on Blaney. Closes the gap on the inside through 1 and 2. Goes from 3 car lengths back to maybe a car length and a half. Into 3 and 4. Things are looking good for Denny Hamlin at this point. I think he just needs to stay green to the end. He's set sail. Green flag is his best friend right now. Blaney way up wide through 1 and 2 again. Just gave up so much time through 3 and 4 that the time he's making up down the backstretch, he's not going to be able to get close enough to strike on Elliott this time around either. Elliott is starting to get behind the 19. If he ends up running the same line as him, that could create an opportunity for Blaney to catch up if the 9 gets really tight in the wake of the dirty air. If Hamlin goes on to win this race, I mentioned it would be the 5th of the season. It would also be the 59th of his NASCAR Cup Series career, 1 away from 60. Couple walls, Christopher Bell also on screen battling for 7th in the running order. Hamlin 1.7 seconds now off of, or I should say Briscoe 1.7 seconds off of Hamlin. I'm convinced that Elliott's not going to be able to, or Blaney's not going to be able to pass Elliott. He's got to run on him again, but we've seen this a few times already before. Blaney's car is not that much more superior than the 9's that he's quicker, but he's not quick enough to complete this pass. I was kind of contemplating to myself, he did spin earlier because of a Hendrick car. Maybe he should just charge the bottom of the corner just like Kyle Larson did, slide all the way up the racetrack and take Elliott out in the left rear, but Blaney's not going to do that. Him and Elliott may be a lot closer together off the track than him and Larson as well, so I don't think he'd want to risk that. Racing him very cleanly, just can't really get to him. He was so close to clearing him with about 13, 14 to go. And that was probably his only opportunity to make a real pass. Good news is for Blaney, he is still plus 41 above the cut line. Chase Elliott, a pretty solid points day as well. He came in plus 9. He's currently plus 27 as he sits in 3rd with coming up on 3 laps to go this time by. I believe Denny Hamlin does have the fastest lap of the race, so that would have been a bonus point. Not really going to matter considering he is looking to get the win, and a win would lock him into the next round anyway. It would be 5 more playoff points carrying over into the next round for him along with that. Hamlin just trying to get to the white flag first. 2 to go right now. Probably going to show the Blaney and Elliott battle for 3rd all the way to the finish. Hard in the first half of the corner for the 12. Loses ground on corner exit to Elliott. Back to Hamlin full screen now on USA Network as he comes up on the white flag. Final lap of the race, Denny Hamlin going for career win number 59 in the NASCAR Cup Series. It'd be the 5th win of the season, most in the series. And now that would mean that Hamlin and Truex, Hamlin and Briscoe, I'm a year off, will be locked into the round of 16 of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Checkered flag waves, Hamlin a winner at Gateway. Back-to-back runner-ups the last 2 seasons. This year, a race win. Hamlin victorious in St. Louis. Knew I should have just taken somebody who started on the front row. I wanted to do that to stick to my guns, knowing that it was going to be a track position kind of a race. I probably would have picked Larson over Hamlin. But Hamlin gets it done. Briscoe, runner-up. Great comeback for that 19 team. A lot of pit road mishaps back in stage 1 that set him behind. The stage 1 break, specifically. He won stage 1. So Briscoe gets a playoff point. Hamlin gets 5 of them. Both of them are in the round of 12. Is this the year Denny Hamlin finally gets that first career Cup Series championship? Maybe. Maybe. 1.6 second margin of victory. 3 hours, 3 minutes, and 10 seconds total time of the race today. 10 cautions, 15 lead changes, and 52 laps of yellow. 240 laps, 300 miles. Our scheduled distance was reached. No more, no less. 75 laps led today for Denny Hamlin. From the pole, he led 2 more laps than the next closest driver, Bubba Wallace, who led 73. Wallace also a stage winner today, finishing in 8th. Other drivers to lead laps would include Chase Briscoe, won stage 1, leading 15 laps. 4 laps led for Elliott, 5 for Blaney, 2 for Logano, 1 for Ty Gibbs, 52 for Kyle Larson early in the race, 13 for Brad Keselowski. And those were all the different drivers who led. Only 3 DNFs, Ty Dillon, Daniel Suarez, and Josh Berry. And we had 29 cars finish on the lead lap here this afternoon. So Hamlin with the race win. Chase Briscoe finishes 2nd. Chase Elliott 3rd. Ryan Blaney 4th. Joey Logano 5th. John Hunter Nemechek in 6th. Christopher Bell in 7th. 8th for Bubba Wallace. Chris Buescher 9th and Ty Gibbs in 10th. William Byron 11th. Kyle Larson in 12th. Ryan Preece 13th. Michael McDowell 14th. 15th. Carson Hocevar. Tyler Reddick 16th. Brad Keselowski 17th. Austin Dillon 18th. Austin Cindric 19th. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 20th. Eric Jones 21st, Kyle Busch 22nd, AJ Allmendinger 23rd, Ross Chastain 24th, Shane Van Gisbergen 25th, Alex Bowman 26th, Cole Custer 27th, Justin Haley 28th, Cody Ware 29th, and Noah Gragson 30th. 31st for Riley Herbst, Todd Gillen 32nd, Zane Smith 33rd, Ty Dillon 34th, Daniel Suarez 35th, and Josh Berry 36th. That rounds out our finishing order here today. What's up with the lawsuit? It would be so fitting if Hamlin won the championship. Yeah, could you imagine if like 23-11 shuts down during the offseason only for Hamlin to end up winning the championship this year? What a wild turn of events. It's not affected his off-the-track on-track performance, that's for sure. 3 straight top 2s here at Gateway. He didn't lead a single lap here in the first 3 races despite back-to-back runner-up finishes, and he led the most laps of any driver today. After back-to-back poles,
There's a quarter-mile drag strip here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That was more than a quarter-mile out from Denny Hamlin. Some cheers, some boos. But that is win number 59, and now puts him one away from Kevin Harvick, as Steve mentioned a moment ago. They started the playoffs with a rough day on pit road. The pit crew answered today. Chris Gale answered with a strategy, and the driver answered as well. I know 59, Denny's important to you, but to get 200 for Toyota, what's the significance of that?
Yeah, it's so big for everyone at Toyota. Joe Gibbs Racing, Progressive Toyota was just great there at the end. And so happy to get this victory. And my dad's not feeling well at home. So just shout out to him. The whole family's here. So fantastic day. And man, couldn't be better.
In honor of your dad, how do you continually find another level at age 44, Denny?
I mean, just step up. I mean, all I can do is just keep being a student of the game, keep trying to get better. And every week is a chance to get a little better.
What did your friend Bill Murray say to you right before the race? He came inside the car for a good little bit there.
Yeah, I just told him to talk to the guys behind me and make sure that they stay behind me the rest of the race. And so we made that happen. So, man, it's just a great victory. Love that Denny Tom poster right there is pretty good. And, you know, y'all can boo me, but you can either get on the bandwagon or you can get run over by it.
You still love the boos? Bring them. Bring them all. Denny Hamlin welcomes the boos, but you know what? He delivers with win number 59 here, and he's advanced on to the round of 12 with a big win in St. Louis.
So debriefing what happened down there in turns 3 and 4 between Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. We've got so much more to follow up with the NASCAR America post-race show presented by Progressive. There is a lot to unpack from today on a thoroughly enjoyable day. Beautiful Sunday afternoon.
I wouldn't say Larson or Blaney are going at it, but no, I didn't think, I mean, Ryan Blaney's not the guy that's going to pick a fight with anybody. I actually remember hearing an interview a long time ago. I can't remember who he was upset with and what race it was, but it was somewhere along the lines they asked Blaney if he ever thought about getting physical because he gets pushed around a lot. He's just like, no, he's like, I'm not going to fight anybody. I'm 5'7", 135 pounds. He's like, I'll get the crap beat out of me. So I'm like, all right, yep, that makes sense. Probably smart on his behalf. He knows his size, his limitations. I don't think he's 5'7", 135. He's probably like 155, but still, it's pretty light dude. Yeah, Denny Hamlin gets the win. 59th of his NASCAR Cup Series career. Went over the finishing results to the race already. We'll highlight the Fantasy League next. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website or the NASCAR mobile app. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing the following season if you win our regular season and or playoff championship. Let's see here. Fantasy Live. On the left side of the screen, KRC League, name of the league again. I'll put that in the chat real quick, KRC League. KRC in all capital letters, space, capital L on league. My team for this week, I had Byron, Hamlin, Bell, Larson, Blaney. Briscoe's in my garage. Honestly, I probably would have ended up putting him in for the 12 just because Blaney spun real late at the end of stage 2. All in all, pretty good scoring week for the fantasy team. Head-to-head picks were pretty good as well. Actually went 4 for 4, so 40 bonus points there. Had Hamlin over Logano. Hamlin wins. Bell over Cindric, 7th for Bell, Cindric 19th. Briscoe over Bowman, 2nd, runner-up for Briscoe. And then 3rd for Elliott, I had him over Wallace, who finished 8th. So I'll take that. Bonus points were good. Fantasy team could have done a little bit better on the starting 5, but not bad overall. Evan 48-48 wins this weekend at Gateway with 259 points scored. Dark Crypto with 247 in 2nd. I finished in 3rd with 246. Monster Jam X10 243 in 4th. And EC23 rounds out the top 5 with 237. Here's the runner-up finisher from today's race, Chase Briscoe with Kim Kuhn.
Issues, then your rebound here. What was the strength and the weakness of this team today?
Yeah, I would say that our strength was our speed. We had a really, really good this past first shop Toyota. Our weakness was just the sloppiness, right? Whether it was me behind the wheel or obviously pit road. I don't know what the left rear issue was, but yeah, great recovery. James did an amazing job of just doing something different to kind of get us up there, and would have loved to obviously battle up there and potentially try to beat everybody's favorite driver for Toyota's 200th win, but. Yeah, this was at a tire deficit there, and I thought our car for having the tire deficit and everything else, it showed just how good it was. So yeah, just thankful again, to Coach and Toyota, and obviously Johnny and JP Morris, everybody at Bass Pro Shops. This thing, it's a dream to drive. I mean, a year ago, you would have told me I would have been disappointed with second. I would have told you you're crazy. And, just today and how much speed we've had, kind of week in and week out, it's been a lot of fun.
Two top two finishes to start the playoffs. Bristol's next week. I know you're full throttle. What's the expectation there?
Yeah, I feel like we can go there and win. It's a great racetrack for me, typically in the past, and was really strong for us, honestly, earlier this year. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Darlington's the only track that I can think of we've actually went as a team for the second time, and Bristol will be the second time we get to do that. So hopefully we can back it up.
Tell you what, DJ, with multiple issues on pit road to finish.
Yeah, that was a great comeback. Great call. The two-tire stop under green as well. They gained so much time out of that. Because they didn't have to stop and wait for fuel as well. They went from 11th in the running order up to the lead at one point. Obviously, Hamlin eventually got around him, but he was the only one that got around him. So still a net gain of quite a few spots. Obviously, the playoff points for the race win was really the only thing he was racing for today, with already being locked into the next round anyway. So to come up second doesn't really do much for him, other than the morale's sake that this team is on it right now, finishing first and second in the first two races of the round. So that is going to wrap up today's live commentary stream. I've got nothing else to really cover here on the post-race side of things. Next weekend, I will be at Bristol for the Xfinity race Friday night, the Cup race on Saturday night. We will be live on Thursday. There will be a doubleheader live commentary coverage on Thursday. I'll do the ARCA race, I believe, at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then the truck race later that night at, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern. Let me check those start times just to make sure. But I can confirm that we will be doing an ARCA and truck live commentary doubleheader on Thursday night, which is really only 4 days away from now for Bristol. That will be the next day for live commentary coverage. Let's see here. Logged onto the Fantasy League again. That's not what I wanted. Scheduled trucks Thursday, yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't have the ARCA start time because that's not on NASCAR.com. Let me check their website real quick. ARCA.com. All right, ARCARacing.com. Apparently, I don't know what ARCA.com was, but it took me to something random. Schedule. ARCA Menards. Looking for Bristol. September 11th. Uh, 5:30. Good thing I checked. So ARCA will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and then the truck race at 8 p.m. Eastern, a part of our doubleheader on Thursday night again. That will be the live commentary schedule for that. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. And obviously see you guys Thursday. If not Thursday, we will have some NASCAR Weight Gaming on tomorrow through Wednesday for the first 3 days of the week. Thanks, everybody, so much. I will see you guys next time. Congrats, obviously, to Denny Hamlin once again as well. Again, career win number 59.